Chapter 1 I Just Want to Be Expelled from the Sect. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Buzz, buzz. 9 loud bells rang throughout the Haotian sect. As soon as the Haotian sect heard the bells, the people from all sides rushed to the Haotian hall. At this moment, countless people had gathered in the Haotian hall. Chu Xinghe, as the entry disciple of this session, was not very eye-catching among the many disciples. 3 months ago, Chu Xinghe came to this world unexpectedly. Before he could figure out what was going on in this world, he passed the Haotian sect assessment and became a Haotian sect disciple. The Haotian sect is the #1 sect in the Liang continent. It has been at the top for 400 years and is the top in terms of strength and status. To be a disciple of the Haotian sect, it is something that many people dare not dream of. Just when Chu Xinghe was sighing that he was about to start a great road, something happened that made Chu Xinghe even more confused. For no reason, a thing called the Doom Compass appeared in his mind. After some research, Chu Xinghe figured out what the Doom Compass was. Simply put, there are various tasks to be completed in the Doom Compass. As long as you complete a specific task, you can get the corresponding reward, but Chu Xinghe was stunned by the tasks in the Doom Compass before he could be happy for a second. Destroy the Haotian sect. The Doom Compass rewards the peak cultivation of the martial god. Let the Haotian sect fall from the position of the world's #1 sect, and the Doom Compass rewards the peak cultivation of the martial emperor. Being expelled from the Haotian sect, the Doom Compass rewards the peak cultivation of the martial emperor. After reading the tasks of the Doom Compass, Chu Xinghe was completely shocked. Good guy. This is a pit. All the tasks in it are related to the Haotian sect where you are. As long as you do anything that is not good for the Haotian sect, you can instantly reach the peak of your life. It is worthy of being the Doom Compass, and it really lives up to its reputation. Although it is very hurtful, Chu Xinghe is really excited for others to become a martial emperor. It is something that they can't do even after practicing for a lifetime. As long as you are expelled from the sect, you will immediately get the cultivation of the martial emperor. Exciting. As the saying goes, it is not easy to learn good things, but it is easy to learn bad things. Haotian sect is the world's #1 behemoth. Want to destroy Haotian sect? It seems to be more difficult than becoming a martial god directly, right? Let Haotian sect fall from the position of the world's #1 sect. Just relying on yourself, a small chicken. Don't make a fuss, okay, but if you want to be expelled from the sect, that's not easy, isn't it? Chu Xinghe, what are you thinking? Remember what I told you just now. This time, do as I told you. If you mess around, you will suffer the consequences. Next to Chu Xinghe, a young man with an eagle nose spoke in a low voice, and did not forget to give Chu Xinghe a threatening look. His name is Chu Xinghe. He and Chu Xinghe are from Kaoshan village. They were selected to become disciples of Haotian sect. The small Kaoshan village has 2 disciples who can enter Haotian sect at once. When the village chief knew about it, he almost fainted with excitement. The 2 entered Haotian sect together, but now Chu Xinghe is a team leader, and Chu Xinghe is also in Chu Xinghe's team, and the Haotian sect's Hongzhong 9 rings were also because of their team. Half a month ago, the first batch of disciples of Haotian sect were divided into countless teams to start the entry trial. Originally, this trial was just a formality, so that the disciples could get familiar with each other, and then it would end, but no one expected that this trial, which should have been safe, would go wrong. 2 talented disciples in Chu Xinghe's team got wrong information and mistakenly entered a dangerous place, and both of them died there, and these 2 people had previously worshipped under the Great Elder, but a simple experience caused them to die at the same time. How could the Great Elder let it go? So today, the Hongzhong 9 rings, the Great Elder wanted to personally find out who killed his disciples. Got it. Chu Xinghe glanced at Chu Xinghe impatiently. Shut up, if you dare to say one more word, I will break your arm again. Chu Xinghe threatened Chu Xinghe again. In the previous trial, this guy broke his arm by relying on his higher cultivation. Now he gnashed his teeth when he mentioned Chu Xinghe again. This little bastard didn't know who was standing in front of him. Wait until I am expelled from the sect and I will chop you off first. The people from all sides of the Haotian sect gathered in the Haotian hall. The majestic elder walked out from the many elders and swept the whole place with cold eyes. The Haotian sect has been established for 1,000 years. 400 years ago, it was known as the world's #1 sect. It is a holy place in the hearts of warriors all over the world. In the past 400 years, the sect has produced many geniuses, even better than before. Everyone who can enter our Haotian sect is also a child of destiny. In this newcomer trial, 2 disciples of our Haotian sect were misled by traitors and died. This is the first case in 400 years. The elder continued to speak with a look of grief. I have investigated the right and wrong clearly. I called everyone here today to deal with this matter. No matter who murdered them, I will never tolerate it. While the elder was speaking, everyone's eyes fell on Chu Xinghe's team. The elder also walked straight to Chu Xinghe's team. Do you want to explain yourself, or let me do it? Everyone was trembling. Chu Xinghe could see that Chu Xinghe beside him was obviously trembling the most. Thinking that this guy seemed to have a bad relationship with those 2 people, could it be him? While Chu Xinghe was thinking, the great elder had already begun to ask questions. The disciple in question stammered about the trial, but it was all in one sentence, and he really didn't know who harmed the person. The great elder asked more and more angrily. When he came to Chu Xinghe, the great elder spoke again. If you take the initiative to confess now, I will expel you from the Haotian sect because of your youth and ignorance. But if I find him out, then your life is at risk. Everyone in the team except Chu Xinghe looked frightened when the great elder said this, and Chu Xinghe over there looked like he couldn't hold his shit back, but Chu Xinghe was so excited that he almost peed. Damn it. Expelled from the sect? Is there such a good thing? Isn't this an opportunity? The great elder came to Chu Xinghe and asked Chu Xinghe to explain what happened during the trial, but just as the great elder finished speaking, Chu Xinghe spoke. Great elder, there is no need to ask any more, it was me who did it. This disciple knows that his sins are serious and he has no face to stay in Haotian sect. Please ask the great elder to expel me. The sect shows severe punishment. Everyone in the team was stunned when they heard Chu Xinghe's words, including the great elder. Chu Xinghe is so happy. Hurry up, the great elder has expelled me from the sect, and the peak martial emperor has already strode towards me. But just when Chu Xinghe was imagining how he would live freely in the world after becoming martial emperor, the great elder fell into silence. I don't know how long it took, but under Chu Xinghe's expectant gaze, the original chill on the elder's face suddenly disappeared, and he laughed wildly. You must be angry. The next step is to expel yourself from the sect. Chu Xinghe looked forward to it. Okay. The great elder came up with 3 good words in a row, which made Chu Xinghe a little confused. Good boy. How did you find out that the 2 of them were spies of the shadow sect, and led them into a dangerous place to kill them before they were about to cause trouble? Chu Xinghe. What the hell? Shadow sect spy. And trap them and kill them before they cause trouble. This is not a trap, you are trapping me. Then the great elder told Chu Xinghe everything with a confused look on his face. It turned out that the 2 people who died were the disciples of the demon shadow sect who took the opportunity to break into the Haotian sect and wanted to cause damage. They had originally planned to do this trial. He was scheming, but he never expected that he would be led to death by wrong information before the plot could be implemented, so Chu Xinghe, who had no idea what was going on, was not only blameless when he came out to take the blame, he actually had merit. Looking at Chu Xinghe who looked confused, the elder happily patted Chu Xinghe on the shoulder. After all, those 2 people entered the sect of the great elder. If something happened, the great elder would be really responsible. After everything was said, everyone around them said in unison, God bless Haotian. After hearing this, the great elder was even more happy, and immediately waved his hand. This time Chu Xinghe killed the spies of the demon shadow sect and protected me as a disciple of the Haotian sect. Starting today, Chu Xinghe will be promoted to an elite disciple and will be rewarded with 10 spirit-gathering pills. Come and study under me. After the great elder said this, all the disciples in the team looked at Chu Xinghe with envy and jealousy, but Chu Xinghe was the only one who was confused. What the hell is this? My peak martial emperor is gone. Can you give me 10 spirit-gathering pills to make up for the trauma in my soul? Seeing the stunned Chu Xinghe next to him, Chu Xinghe suddenly had an idea. Great Elder, this disciple is not worthy. In fact, our captain Chu Xinghe was the first to kill the Shadow Sect spies this time. I am just the executor. If we really want a reward based on merit, it should be the captain. And the disciple deceived the big brother elder. Please ask the great elder to expel the disciple from the school. As soon as Chu Xinghe said these words, everyone was stunned, and Chu Xinghe even looked in disbelief. He had no idea that Chu Xinghe would transfer such a big credit to himself. But just when Chu Xinghe was excited, the originally kind elder turned to Chu Xinghe with a cold face. Your name is Chu Xinghe, right? Yes. I am deliberately testing this today, just to see if you have the courage to stand up on your own. But as the captain of the team, you have no responsibility. You didn't go to me to admit everything you did at the first time. It is simply an insult to our Haotian sect. You and Chu Xinghe should be from the same hometown. Chu Xinghe is even willing to accept it for the sake of fellow countrymen. You were punished by being expelled from the sect, but you didn't say a word. How can you accept the merit now? Chu Xinghe was dumbfounded. Chu Xinghe was also dumbfounded. Pass on my elder's order to expel Chu Xinghe from the inner sect of Haotian sect. From today on, he will become an outer sect disciple to serve as a warning to others. Chu Xinghe was taken away, and the great elder regained the feeling of the spring breeze on his face again, patting Chu Xinghe on the shoulder. Don't be arrogant when rewarded, don't be surprised when punished. What a good boy. A turmoil ended with the departure of the great elder. Countless new disciples gathered around Chu Xinghe and congratulated Chu Xinghe for being the first among this generation of disciples to become an elite disciple. Coupled with the great elder's love, Chu Xinghe's future was limitless, but the smile on Chu Xinghe's face right now is uglier than crying. My peak martial emperor, what elite disciples, what great elder's love, are all bullshit. I just want to be expelled from the sect. Chapter 2, Revenge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A black disciple uniform representing the elite has been put on Chu Xinghe. Chu Xinghe sent away the fifth group of people who came to congratulate him today. Just when Chu Xinghe was about to take a rest, someone came again, and this time they were members of his own team. Everyone came except Chu Xinghe and the two dead spies. Brother Chu, congratulations. Brother Chu must not forget our brothers when he becomes an elite disciple. We need to support him a lot in the sect in the future. As the number one sect in the world, the Haotian sect is powerful and has equally strict sect rules. Under normal circumstances, an ordinary inner sect disciple with good talent cannot become an elite disciple without 3 to 5 years of hard work. Those with poor talent cannot become an elite disciple. Not to mention, elite disciples not only have a far higher status than ordinary inner sect disciples, they can also get more resources and learn more advanced techniques. What's more, Chu Xinghe is a disciple who was personally promoted by the great elder and accepted as a disciple. He will not be inferior in the future. Already? It would do no harm to anyone to have a good relationship with Chu Xinghe now. Oh, why didn't Chu Xinghe come? Chu Xinghe asked knowingly. That bitch is now an outer sect disciple. He can't come to the inner sect just by wanting to. It's just that he didn't treat us as human beings when he was a captain before. Now he is demoted to the outside. Let's see how arrogant he is. The team members knew that Chu Xinghe had broken Chu Xinghe's arm before, so they knew best. Even though the two were from the same hometown, there was no so-called friendship at all. Yes, he is an outer disciple now, what a pity. Chu Xinghe sighed. What a pity. After hearing Chu Xinghe's words, Zhao Dong, the most clever person in the team, reacted. Brother Chu, that bitch has been attacking us a lot before. Look. As soon as Zhao Dong said these words, everyone's eyes lit up. TSK. Dong, what you said is wrong. Although that dog, that guy Chu Xinghe is a bit shameless, despicable, but after all, he and I are from the same hometown. We are in a different place, but fellow countrymen are like brothers, how can you add insult to injury? That Zhao Dong and others quickly said they dare not. Chu Xinghe said sadly, let's just break an arm, but we can't go too far. After all, I am also an outer disciple, right? Brother Chu is awesome. Brother Chu has a broad mind. We brothers admire him. Just do what Brother Chu says. After some compliments, Chu Xinghe saw off his former teammates. Later, some ordinary inner disciples who entered the sect from the same batch came to congratulate them. Chu Xinghe also received them one by one. He only said that this was the great elder's favor and that he was lucky. Until the evening, Chu Xinghe got the news that several brothers from the team went to visit Chu Cheng. As a result, this guy made rude remarks and was beaten by a few people and broke an arm. His nose and face were bruised and swollen. But who would care about an outer disciple? That's right, at night, Chu Xinghe lay on the bed and looked at the tasks in the compass of doom. There were countless tasks listed on it. Anyway, as long as the Haotian sect could complete Dizzy's tasks, they were all available, although he missed the opportunity to be expelled from the sect and become the peak martial emperor this time. Chu Xinghe looked at the compass of doom without panic at all. If you want to stand out in the world's #1 sect like Haotian sect, even if you are an elite disciple, it is even more difficult. After all, there are core disciples, direct disciples, and even chief disciples. But when it comes to committing suicide and finding a way to be punished and expelled from the sect, there are many options to choose from. After a dreamless night, Chu Xinghe put on his elite disciple uniform early the next morning and went to the cafeteria belonging to elite disciples to have breakfast, greeting other elite disciples along the way. Not to mention, it is worthy of being an elite disciple's cafeteria, and the food is definitely not comparable to that of ordinary disciples. After 4 bowls of braised pork in a row, Chu Xinghe was satiated. Just as he was about to leave, 2 dejected elite disciples came behind him. At first glance, they were wearing elite disciple uniforms with the same spiritual crane pattern that belonged to the great elder, just like his own. This meant that they, like himself, were disciples of the great elder. Elite disciple. Hello, 2 senior brothers. Oh. The 2 of them found a place to sit down and eat without even looking up at Chu Xinghe. Chu Xinghe didn't take it seriously and was about to leave when he heard one of the elite disciples say, Ma Biao, I'm afraid I'm going to be doomed this time. Ma Biao sighed and said, Chun, what are you talking about? The great elder is best at alchemy, so all his disciples must practice alchemy. But what the great elder hates the most are those disciples who don't pay attention. You are practicing this time. The medicine actually exploded, and the elder was so angry when he heard it. You will definitely not be able to escape this punishment. Chun was shocked and said, how will you be punished? The lightest case can be as little as a month of confinement, and the worst case can be that you are directly disqualified from being an elite disciple. No. I just became an elite disciple, I can't. Chun was almost crying with fear, but Chu Xinghe's eyes lit up. What the hell? Just make an elixir and explode the furnace to be punished? It could range from confinement to confinement, or it could range from being directly disqualified as an elite disciple. What about this good thing? I quickly took a look at the compass of doom, and sure enough, there was a similar mission. Can I be directly promoted to martial arts after being punished by confinement? Being disqualified as an elite disciple and directly promoted to a great martial arts master. Damn it! Chu Xinghe's excited stomach started churning with braised pork. Practitioners in this world are divided into 9 levels, from low to high, 1st to 9th. A 1st-grade warrior is Chu Xinghe's current level of cultivation, and he is just starting out. A 2nd-grade martial artist, a 3rd-grade great martial artist, 4th-grade wuzong, 5th-grade martial spirit, 6th-grade martial king, 7th-grade martial saint, 8th-grade martial lord. The 9th-level person is the martial emperor. And there are rumors that there is the martial god realm above the martial emperor, but the details are not something Chu Xinghe can understand. The unique ability of the Doom Compass allows him to start a path of reverse cultivation. You can be promoted to a martial artist just by being in solitary confinement. After losing his qualification as an elite disciple, he was directly promoted to the 3rd level of Great Martial Arts Master. Good guy, if you practice steadily, even though you have good talent, it will probably be difficult for you to step into this level within 2 or 3 years. But now, Chu Xinghe excitedly ran to the 2 dejected senior brothers and bowed 90 degrees to thank them without saying a word, leaving the 2 of them confused and completely confused as to what was going on. After leaving the cafeteria, Chu Xinghe rushed to the Lingyi Palace without stopping. The Haotian sect occupies the entire Haotian mountains. Each elder has his own hilltop. The top of the mountain for the eldest elder is called Lingyi Palace. Besides the sect leader, the top of the mountain also has the spiritual energy. The richest and best place, Chu Xinghe walked all the way to Lingyi Palace, and after verifying his identity, entered Lingyi Palace. The great elder is a 9th-level medicine refining master who uses medicine to enter the Tao, so his disciples are also required to learn the medicine refining method. Chu Xinghe came to the medicine king's palace in the center of Lingyi Palace, and bursts of medicinal fragrance wafted out from the medicine king's palace. Smelling the aroma of medicine, Chu Xinghe stepped into the palace of medicine without stopping. After some inquiries, Chu Xinghe found an elite disciple named Feng Fei. The 4 cauldron patterns on his chest told Chu Xinghe that he was a 4th-level alchemist, and Feng Fei also guided the disciples in their daily practice. Senior brother, the grand elder and many elders are busy with their affairs and cannot teach in person every day. Therefore, the disciples are taught by other selected high-level disciples most of the time. Feng Fei is the disciple who teaches today. Junior brother Xinghe is not arrogant when rewarded and is not shocked when punished. The news has spread throughout the Haotian sect. It is even more admirable to stand up for his fellow villagers. Feng Fei obviously knew Chu Xinghe, and what he said made Chu Xinghe happy. I'm a little embarrassed. After all, my fellow countrymen probably won't be able to get out of bed for half a month. Senior brother Feng, I want to learn to explode, make alchemy. Chu Xinghe almost said what he was thinking when he was so excited. Junior brother, since you want to learn, I will teach you personally, but the art of alchemy requires extremely high talent. Feng Fei talked for a while, but Chu Xinghe didn't remember a word until Feng Fei mentioned the precautions. At that moment, Chu Xinghe became energetic. Junior brother Xinghe, the first step in learning alchemy is to control fire, and everyone is born with different flames. Only those who can master spiritual fire can learn alchemy. Next, I will test the spiritual fire for you, but junior brother Xinghe, remember, in the spiritual fire during the fire test, when the spiritual fire infiltrates the alchemy furnace, you must not be distracted, otherwise the spiritual fire will be out of control and cause the furnace to explode, which will be troublesome. The great elder is most taboo about this, and the punishment will be extremely severe. Feng Fei looked serious, while Chu Xinghe nodded solemnly. Feng Fei said so much, Chu Xinghe only remembered a few points. First, losing your mind can cause the furnace to explode. Second, the punishment for blowing up the furnace is extremely severe. It's perfect. Following Feng Fei, Chu Xinghe came to the Suzaku Hall where the spiritual fire was tested. Feng Fei explained the method to Chu Xinghe again in detail. He also told Chu Xinghe that even if the test failed, it didn't matter. He could come back next time, but he must not lose his mind and cause the spiritual fire to explode and explode the furnace. He also said that Chu Xinghe was a disciple personally promoted by the great elder, so he must not let the great elder down. Senior brother Feng, don't worry. Chu Xinghe gave Feng Fei a firm look. Seeing Feng Fei nodding with satisfaction, Chu Xinghe was also very satisfied. Don't worry, brother Feng, I never disappoint people. With everything ready, Chu Xinghe sat in front of the earth fire. His spiritual power was injected into the earth fire according to the method mentioned by Feng Fei. In an instant, the earth fire rose up and changed from red to orange. Seeing this scene, Feng Fei was immediately overjoyed, and the earth fire changed color, indicating that Chu Xinghe should have the ability to control spiritual fire. But just when Feng Fei was excited to see how high Chu Xinghe's spiritual fire could reach, the originally orange spiritual fire exploded instantly. Boom! The terrifying spiritual fire drilled directly from the center of the earth and swept through the alchemy furnace instantly. Under the high temperature of the spiritual fire, the alchemy furnace turned red. Junior brother Xinghe, stop it. Feng Fei saw this and realized that Chu Xinghe was out of control. Stop. I finally let the spiritual fire go wild, can I stop? Chu Xinghe completely ignored Feng Fei's words and increased his firepower to attack me. Fry the oven today. When Feng Fei saw that Chu Xinghe had no reaction, he thought that Chu Xinghe had lost his mind. At this moment, he couldn't care about anything else and quickly mobilized his spiritual power to suppress Chu Xinghe's spiritual fire. After Feng Fei's power was injected into it, the spiritual fire was indeed suppressed a lot, and Feng Fei breathed a sigh of relief, but Chu Xinghe was angry. I was about to explode, and I couldn't let Feng Fei ruin his good deeds. At this moment, Chu Xinghe couldn't care less. The firepower was fully turned on, and all the spiritual energy in the body was thrown into the spiritual fire. In an instant, the spiritual fire that was about to go out turned from orange to red, and then the red turned into red gold again. The terrifying flame instantly swept away Feng Fei's suppressed spiritual power. Feng Fei was shocked, but just when Feng Fei was panicking, a faint cry came from the spiritual fire, and the next moment the red gold spiritual fire made the furnace, which was already in a state of collapse, unable to withstand the power of the flame. Boom! A huge explosion sounded and the flames spread everywhere. Feng Fei could only step forward to protect Chu Xinghe and escape. The furnace exploded, and the flames instantly swept through the room of the Vermillion Bird Hall, and the whole room was directly burned to ashes by the flames. Feng Fei stared at the blown-up room in amazement, with only one thought left in his mind. It's over. But Chu Xinghe looked at the blown-up room and was very happy. This time, I want to see who can stop me. Chapter 3 Vermillion Bird Spirit Fire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The flames instantly swept the entire room, and the sound of the explosion of the Suzaku Hall's furnace also shook the entire Medicine King Palace. At once, countless disciples came from all directions. Put out the fire quickly. Someone ordered to put out the fire, but the flames were too fierce. Not only did it burn the room where the furnace exploded, but it also ignited the two rooms next to it. Feng Fei's face turned green when he saw this scene. How could a spiritual fire test turn out like this? Chu Xinghe seemed to be scared on the surface, but he was singing a good song in his heart. Burn it. It would be better if the whole Suzaku Hall was burned down. It would be perfect if the elder could expel him directly from the sect in anger. However, Chu Xinghe's idea was soon shattered, because the news of the explosion of the Suzaku Hall's furnace was passed to the elder, who brought people to the scene immediately. With the cooperation of the elder and several other elders, the flames were finally extinguished. Although he failed to burn down the entire Suzaku Hall, looking at the dusty elder and others, Chu Xinghe knew that he had succeeded. Who is it? The voice of the elder shook the entire Suzaku Hall. No one dared to speak for a moment, whether disciples or elders. Feng Fei looked at Chu Xinghe with an expression of looking at a dead person. He knew that Chu Xinghe was probably completely finished this time. Feng Fei. What happened? The elder looked at Feng Fei. Feng Fei quickly got up from the ground and said, Elder, this is an accident. Today. Feng Fei did not dare to hide it and told Chu Xinghe about the test of the spirit fire. But after the words were finished, Feng Fei spoke again, Please calm down, elder. Although it was junior brother Xinghe who did it today, I, as the supervisor, was unable to stop it and should bear the responsibility. Please don't blame junior brother Xinghe. Good man. Chu Xinghe felt a little regretful when he looked at Feng Fei beside him. He was actually pitying Feng Fei in disguise, but Feng Fei had to stand up and take responsibility for him. This senior brother Feng made Chu Xinghe full of gratitude. It's you. But the elder ignored Feng Fei and came to Chu Xinghe. Yes. The elder is not like what brother Feng Fei said. Brother Feng Fei has explained all the precautions to me. It was my own fault that led to such a result. I am the only one who made a mistake. Please don't punish brother Feng Fei. After hearing what Chu Xinghe said, Feng Fei was also shocked. He didn't expect Chu Xinghe to take all the blame. Before, Chu Xinghe stood up to take the blame for his fellow villager, which was widely spread. But later, it was heard that Chu Xinghe's fellow villager had his arm broken. There were rumors that Chu Xinghe and his fellow villager were not in harmony at all, and they were just pretending, but now Feng Fei just wants to give a slap in the face to those who said such things behind their backs. Look! Brother Xinghe did not shirk any responsibility in this situation, but was afraid that he would be punished and took everything alone. How could such a brother Xinghe be what they said behind their backs? But just when Feng Fei was so moved that he almost cried, the elder suddenly spoke, "Is it really you?" Absolutely true. Xinghe is ashamed of the elder's support. He knows that he has committed a serious crime. Please punish him severely. Chu Xinghe's face was full of guilt, but his heart was full of joy. Expel me from the sect. Expel me from the sect quickly. If it doesn't work, just cancel my status as an elite disciple. If you can't get the peak martial emperor, you can get a third-grade great martial artist. It's comfortable to think about it, but Chu Xinghe didn't wait for the elder's punishment, but was directly pulled into another spiritual fire test room by the elder, pointing at the ground fire and saying, "Come on. Repeat what you just did." Ah! Chu Xinghe was stunned. What was going on? Quick, do it again. The elder looked anxious. Chu Xinghe, who didn't understand what was going on, looked at the elder and the other people who were also confused. It was obvious that no one understood what the elder meant, but Chu Xinghe didn't care about that. You want to see the furnace explode, right? Well, I'll explode another one for you. Sitting cross-legged as before, Chu Xinghe began to inject spiritual power into the earth fire. Just like before, the flames rose and began to turn orange. This time, no one suppressed Chu Xinghe, so Chu Xinghe went all in. All the spiritual power was injected into the earth fire, and the red gold flame appeared again in an instant. Along with the red gold flame, the burning furnace also began to make a buzzing sound, which was a sign of an impending furnace explosion, but when Chu Xinghe thought the elder would stop him, he found that the elder and the other elders watching on the side all looked at him with a drastic change of expression at this moment. What happened? When Chu Xinghe was wondering, a cry similar to the one that exploded just now came, and along with the cry, a loud bang came, and the furnace exploded again. And at the moment when the furnace exploded, the elder protected Chu Xinghe and took him out of the room, and the flames engulfed the entire room. Suzaku Spirit Fire. It's the Suzaku Spirit Fire. That's right. It's really the Suzaku Spirit Fire. God bless my Haotian sect. After 400 years, my Haotian sect finally gave birth to the Suzaku Spirit Fire again. That the sudden shouting made everyone dumbfounded. Chu Xinghe looked at the elder who grabbed him. At this moment, there was no coldness or blame on the elder's face. Instead, it was all shock and unconcealable joy. At this moment, everyone finally understood why the great elder did not get angry when he found out that the alchemy furnace exploded and the room was burned like that, but instead made Chu Xinghe do it again. It turned out that he felt that the flame was extraordinary, and there was actually a hint of the hidden breath of the Vermillion bird's spiritual fire. Under uncertain circumstances, he asked Chu Xinghe to do it again, but this time everyone saw that the flame turned red gold and erupted again, and the Suzaku Spirit Fire was drawn out from the center of the earth. The real rise of the Haotian sect should have been 400 years ago. At that time, the Haotian sect gave birth to several peerless powerful men. Among them was Lu Changfeng, who was known as the medicine sage. He possessed the Suzaku Spirit Fire and relied on the Suzaku Spirit. Lu Changfeng became the being closest to the god of medicine in the world. It is precisely because of Lu Changfeng's medicine refining skills that the Haotian sect continues to rise, and the Haotian sect's medicine refining skills are the best in the world. But in the next 400 years, Lu Changfeng mysteriously disappeared without a trace, and most of his inheritance disappeared. The Suzaku Spiritual Fire also became the last song. During the 400 years, the Haotian sect produced many great masters of alchemy, but none of them could reach this level again. Lu Changfeng's height, but today, the furnace exploded with Vermillion bird's spiritual fire. The Vermillion bird spirit fire mobilized by Chu Xinghe moved everyone's faces. 400 years later, the Haotian sect finally gave birth to a disciple who could control the Vermillion bird spiritual fire. The Suzaku Palace is named after the Suzaku spiritual fire. Lu Changfeng 400 years ago and Chu Xinghe 400 years later. The first elder was as excited as a child. The other elders all looked at Chu Xinghe with excitement. Only Chu Xinghe himself was confused. This is not the result I want. What about the promised punishment? Did you say that the fried furnace is serious? What does this mean now? After much hesitation, Chu Xinghe decided to speak. Great Elder, the state-owned legal family has family rules. Even if I really have the Suzaku spiritual fire today, I still have to be punished for the crime of exploding the furnace twice in a row. Please punish me impartially. As soon as Chu Xinghe said these words, not only the Great Elder, but also the disciples in the surrounding Lingyi palace were moved. Listen, what is realm? What is a big heart? Junior brother Xinghe has just been promoted to an elite disciple, but he does not have any arrogance, and today he has become the first person to possess the Vermillion bird spiritual fire in 400 years. Everyone knows that junior brother Xinghe has a promising future, but in this situation, junior brother Xinghe didn't forget about it at all. He still felt extremely guilty about exploding the furnace and wanted the elder to punish him. What a state this was. For a moment, even some of the disciples who were jealous of Chu Xinghe had to lament that Chu Xinghe was really an extraordinary person. Ha 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 ha, good, good, good. 3 more good words. When Chu Xinghe heard these 3 good words, he knew something was wrong. Sure enough, the great elder looked at Chu Xinghe with a look of relief and said, as expected of my chosen disciple, you must first practice martial arts and cultivate virtue. I have seen too many young people who are extremely talented but unworthy of virtue. Can you say this today? So happy, there is a successor to the medicine saint. God bless Haotian. A group of people congratulated again. Xinghe, although this furnace explosion happened because of you, I don't blame you. The Vermillion bird spirit fire is not something ordinary pill furnaces can withstand. The furnace explosion is naturally destined, so you are not guilty, but what you did today, the words also woke me up. I have always punished too many disciples for the explosion of the furnace, which is wrong. After all, they also made unintentional mistakes. From today on, if the disciples who caused the explosion of the furnace due to unintentional mistakes will no longer be punished. Punish. As soon as the great elder said these words, the disciples at the scene were immediately overjoyed. Thank you, elder, for your generosity. Countless disciples saluted the elder, and Chun, who they met in the cafeteria before, even shed tears of excitement. Haha. I should also thank you, junior brother Xinghe. Without him, how would I be able to get rid of my obsession? The elder smiled while squeezing his beard. Junior brother Xinghe. A group of disciples from Lingyi Palace saluted Chu Xinghe again, while looking at Chu Xinghe with goodwill in their eyes. Okay, starting from today, I and many elders will personally teach you the art of alchemy. Xinghe, please don't let down your Vermillion bird spirit fire. Ah. Elder Xie. Chu Xinghe almost cried. Obviously he can reach the top as long as he is expelled from the school, but now he has to be pushed by a group of old men every day. Is this really justified? Is there any royal law? The great elder left with a group of elders, and Feng Fei and a group of disciples from Lingyi Palace immediately surrounded Chu Xinghe. Junior brother Xinghe, I would like to thank junior brother Xinghe again today. Junior brother Xinghe, from today on, anyone who dares to touch you in this Lingyi Palace will be an enemy of all of us. Junior brother Xinghe is a righteous man. Before, senior brother believed the slander that you ordered someone to break Chu Cheng's arm. Now that I think about it, senior brother is really ashamed. Rumors stop with the wise. How can junior brother Xinghe be that kind of person? I'm going to investigate right away who is stirring up rumors and see if I can kill him. No need to check. I went to the outer gate today and I heard that it was Chu Cheng who said it himself. Nonsense. Junior brother Xinghe hasn't even seen that bitch since he was demoted to the outer sect. How can he instigate people to deal with him? This bitch must be thinking that junior brother Xinghe has entered the ranks of elite disciples and is twisted in his heart. See if I am no longer useless. The crowd was so excited that Chu Xinghe began to wonder if he had done what happened that day. Brothers, please don't do that. I'm afraid Chu Xinghe has his own unspeakable secrets, but he and I are from the same hometown after all. I already feel guilty about his being demoted to the outer sect. Now if you brothers hurt him again, how can I feel good about it? After hearing Chu Xinghe's words, the eyes of a group of brothers became more determined. Listen. This is the realm. How can two young men from the same village have such a big difference in their character? Window_tabula equals window_tabula_tabula.push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula below article feed, placement, below article feed, target_type, mix. Chapter 4 Is There Such a Good Thing? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Perhaps Chu Xinghe's words worked, and the brothers of Lingyi Palace really didn't attack Chu Xinghe, but they chose another way. Stop the medicine. That's right, although the treatment of the outer sect of Haotian sect is not as good as that of the inner sect, it is the first sect in the world after all. Even the resources of the outer disciples are much better than those of the inner disciples of ordinary sects, and even the inner disciples of many large sects can't compare. As for the elixir, it naturally comes from Lingyi Palace. It can be said that all the elixir resources of the entire Haotian sect are provided by Lingyi Palace. All parties come to a fixed point to get their own elixir resources, and then go back to distribute them to disciples according to their share, but this time, the outer sect didn't get the elixir. The reason is very simple, the medicine is scarce. Originally, the outer sect didn't think much about it. After all, they are the outer sect. It's nothing to cut them off when the medicine is scarce, but when asked when it can be replenished, the answer is that it can't be replenished. This time, the outer sect was anxious. What's the matter? Are the outer disciples not human? It's okay to bully us on weekdays, but this bully is open. But just when the outer disciples were clamoring to find the elder to argue, a message came from Lingyi Palace. What? It's because of that bastard Chu Xinghe. He said that Chu Xinghe broke his arm. Bullshit. Chu Xinghe has never been to the outer sect. I was there that day. People from his former team came to see him. He was rude and was beaten up by the crowd. I heard that this guy used to treat people in the team in a rude way. Fuck. Just because of this bastard, we can't get the elixir. It seems that the people in Lingyi Palace said that he slandered their junior brother Xinghe, and they couldn't stand it. I don't care, I'll kill this bastard. How cruel can a group of outer disciples who can't get the medicine be? Chu Xinghe should know this best. Although Chu Xinghe, who had rested for a few days, was still bruised and swollen, he could already get out of bed and walk. Chu Xinghe swore. 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west. Don't bully the poor young man. One day, Chu Xinghe will return to the inner sect as a great emperor. The first thing he will do is to make Chu Xinghe kneel in front of him and call him daddy. At that time, he will not only break his 4 limbs, no. All 5 limbs. But just when Chu Xinghe was imagining that he would kill people with a magic sword in his left hand and magic in his right hand, the door was kicked open by a group of outer sect disciples. You are called Chu Xinghe. An outer sect senior brother who looked like a fathead fish looked at Chu Xinghe with his head tilted. Senior brother, what's wrong? I am Chu Xinghe, what do you want me to do? Chu Xinghe returned to the human world from heaven, but soon the human world could not keep him, and the gate of hell opened. After a group of outer sect senior brothers confirmed that the person in front of them was Chu Xinghe, they didn't care about anything and just beat him up. No one could tell how long the beating lasted, but everyone knew how long it would take for him to get out of bed. Half a year. After this beating, the news spread to Lingyi Palace. When the outer disciples went to collect the pills, the scarce medicines were not scarce at all. Not only did the outer disciples get their share, but even the fathead fish who took the lead in beating Chu Xinghe was rewarded with a bottle of bodybuilding pill by the senior brothers of Lingyi Palace. This time, it's good. Teaming up to beat Chu Xinghe has become a daily routine for the outer disciples. Chu Xinghe also got the news. He was heartbroken by Feng Fei, who sent the news. Brother Feng, this. How can I deal with this? Brother Xinghe, you are joking. What does this have to do with you? What does it have to do with my Lingyi Palace? Chu Xinghe is narrow-minded. He bullied others when he was the captain. Brother Feng has investigated this matter clearly. Moreover, he was beaten up by a group of people, but he framed you, brother. It is really infuriating. The people from the outer sect took action this time because they had an inextinguishable spirit in their hearts. Naturally, they had to punish this villain. Chu Xinghe didn't know what to do with Feng Fei's words. How can you bully people so righteously? Brother Feng Fei, I misjudged you. But why do I feel so fond of you? Speaking of Chu Xinghe, Feng Fei actually asked someone about it. Chu Xinghe and Chu Xinghe both came from Kaoshan village. Although they were from the same village, Chu Xinghe lost both his parents when he was young and was an orphan. He grew up relying on the support of his fellow villagers. Chu Xinghe was different. His father was a wealthy man in the village. Chu Xinghe was a bully in the village since he was young. It was common for Chu Xinghe to be bullied by Chu Xinghe in the past. I even learned from Chu Xinghe's former teammates that after entering Haotian's sect, this guy actually broke Chu Xinghe's arm when he went out for trials. However, his teammates said that Chu Xinghe was broad-minded and had never reported the matter. Feng Fei, who was always gentle, was really angry after hearing this. What? Bullying an honest person, right? It's okay to bully my junior brother Xinghe since he was a child, but he dared to mess around after entering the sect. Even Feng Fei couldn't stand such a person. I was so busy talking about this that I almost delayed the main business. Junior brother Xinghe, the great elder, is already waiting in the Medicine King Palace. Today, he will teach you all the basics. You are the first one to be taught the basic skills of alchemy by the great elder himself. Although Feng Fei envied Chu Xinghe, he also knew that Chu Xinghe was extraordinary. With the Vermillion bird spirit fire, he will definitely reach the peak in the future. Ah! After listening to Feng Fei's words, Chu Xinghe was helpless. Actually, I really never thought about learning to refine medicine. I heard that learning to refine medicine requires memorizing all kinds of boring knowledge. My memory is really weak, I can't do it, but no matter how much he said, it was useless. Under the leadership of Feng Fei, Chu Xinghe came to Yaowang Palace. In the center of Yaowang Palace, there is an extremely dazzling alchemy furnace with the phantom of a Suzaku. This is the most important treasure of Yaowang Palace, the Suzaku furnace. This was the alchemy furnace of the medicine sage Lu Changfeng back then. The Suzaku furnace was paired with the Suzaku spiritual fire. Lu Changfeng swept the world's alchemists, and all of them bowed down. This established the Haotian sect's reputation as the best in the world in medicine. However, in the past 400 years, no one can use the Suzaku stove, because without the Suzaku spiritual fire, the Suzaku stove cannot be started at all. At this time, the great elder was already standing next to the Suzaku stove. He looked at the Suzaku stove and then at Chu Xinghe, who came in. He was a little lost in thought. He seemed to have seen that one day the Suzaku stove would rekindle the Suzaku spiritual fire, and then bring the Haotian sect with a new one. Peak picture. Disciple Chu Xinghe, Feng Fei, has met the great elder. The two of them saluted the great elder together. Feng Fei, thank you for your hard work. Go and teach other disciples. Disciple accepts the order. Feng Fei walked out of Yaowang Palace, where only the miserable Chu Xinghe and the great elder who was full of hope for the future were left. In the following time, the great elder first started with the Vermillion bird stove and told Chu Xinghe the story of medicine Saint Lu Changfeng. It sounds nice, but I don't want to learn how to make medicine. Chu Xinghe is even more miserable. In refining medicine, you must first identify the medicine. From today on, I will personally teach you various methods of identifying medicine. The road to refining medicine is painful, but you have the Vermillion bird spiritual fire in your body, and the future belongs to you. What is boring? It only took Chu Xinghe half an afternoon to understand, what evening primrose. Moon night grass. Moon soul grass. Big brother. They all look exactly the same, how can you tell them apart? Are the textures slightly different? Chu Xinghe felt that his eyes were about to explode and he couldn't see any difference at all. Compass of doom, isn't this considered a punishment? Why don't you give me a peak martial arts master to compensate me? Is this much more uncomfortable than confinement? The pain in my heart was to the extreme, but Chu Xinghe couldn't do anything about it. Why was it so difficult to be expelled from the master? I just wanted to become the martial emperor in 1 second. Chu Xinghe had thought before that if he wanted to be expelled from the sect, he would directly point his nose at the great elder and scold him. Would he then be expelled from the sect for bullying his master and destroying his ancestors? But the result of bullying the master and destroying the ancestor is not to be expelled from the master, but to be Ling Qi. I want to be expelled from the master, I don't want to be reincarnated, and the doom compass seems to have restrictions on this, not allowing some too deliberate practices. To seek death, you also have to do it just right. This is the difficulty. While Chu Xinghe is looking at San Chao, he is feeling stupid in his heart. Is this his own doom compass calculation system? Logically speaking, shouldn't the system give you all kinds of help to help you go against the odds? I have never gotten the compass of doom, and I have no help from Mao. Various tasks are placed there to attract me like beauties, but what do you mean by not letting me touch them or not touching them? Xinghe, identifying herbs is not something that happens overnight. You don't need to be depressed. Looking at Chu Xinghe who looked frustrated, the elder thought it was because Chu Xinghe did not learn well on the first day and was frustrated. Elder Xie, how long will it take to learn? I started identifying medicines as an apprentice, and it only took me 5 years to master the medicinal properties of 70% of the world's medicinal materials. The great elder smiled softly, helping his beard. District. 5 years. Ahem. Xinghe, you don't know something. Although my talent is not extraordinary, it only comes out in 100 years. He can master 70% in 5 years, which is unparalleled in the world. If his qualifications are slightly lower, he can master 30% in 10 years. 50% is as high as the sky. Click, a sound of thunder exploded in Chu Xinghe's ears. 10 years. 35%. Is that one with less talent? What about people like me who don't even want to learn? 20 years, 30 years. Chu Xinghe seemed to see himself sitting here even though he was old, distinguishing the difference between evening primrose and moon soul grass. Okay, that's it for today's class. You should go back and have a rest, and continue to come and listen to the class tomorrow morning. The elder smiled and sent Chu Xinghe away, who was like a wooden man. Chu Xinghe silently greeted the senior brothers passing by along the way. Now Chu Xinghe has lived in Lingyi Palace, sharing a room with Feng Fei. This was specially arranged by the elder. Seeing Chu Xinghe who was stunned as he returned to the room, senior brother Feng Fei was also stunned, but then he thought that the great elder had strict requirements, so it was normal for junior brother Xinghe to be scolded on the first day of study. Junior brother Xinghe, the great elder is strict, but the great elder's medicine refining skills are hard to find in the world. If you can learn from the great elder, you must work hard. Thank you, senior brother Feng. I will work hard. Chu Xinghe replied numbly. If he didn't want to work hard now, he just wanted to die. What did the great elder teach the juniors today? Feng Fei continued to look for topics. Distinguish the medicine. Evening primrose is evening primrose. Moon Ming grass is Yuan Ming grass, moon soul grass is evening primrose. I'm just kidding. Chu Xinghe's mind was confused. Feng Fei nodded as if he understood very well and said, Junior brother, don't be discouraged. It is indeed difficult to get started in identifying medicines, but once you get started, the elder will definitely teach you more advanced fire control techniques, and then it won't be so boring. Moreover, you have the Suzaku spirit fire and are the only one who can use the Suzaku divine furnace. Your future is definitely limitless, but you must not be as reckless as you were the first time. It would be bad if you damaged the Suzaku furnace. Feng Fei patiently reminded Chu Xinghe, but Chu Xinghe only heard one sentence from Feng Fei: damage the Suzaku furnace? Is there such a good thing? Chapter 5 Junior Brother Xinghe's Benevolence and Righteousness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Vermillion bird furnace is the treasure left by medicine Saint Lu Changfeng. For 400 years, Haotian sect used all the methods they could think of, but still could not use the Vermillion bird furnace again. The final conclusion was that the Vermillion bird furnace could only be activated and used with the Vermillion bird spiritual fire. So Haotian sect has been waiting for someone who possesses the Vermillion bird spiritual fire to appear. Similarly, for Haotian sect, the Vermillion bird furnace is also a symbol of medicine saint, and it is a divine object in the minds of countless people, and if such a divine object is destroyed, it is unlikely that I will be expelled from the sect. After all, I own the Vermillion bird spiritual fire. For this reason, I want to be expelled from the sect unless I kill all the wives and daughters of the sect master, but if I really do this, and still want to be expelled from the sect, I will be cut into pieces, so the path of expulsion from the sect is not feasible, so there is nothing wrong with being punished can also make me improve rapidly, right? If I destroy the Vermillion bird furnace, then the Great Elder will be so angry that he will be demoted to the outer sect and locked up for 3 to 5 years. It will be fine. With this set of tactics, it will be just around the corner for me to become a martial master. Thinking of this, Chu Xinghe had a new goal and was full of fighting spirit. Evening primrose. Moon dark grass. Moon soul grass. Various grasses. Chu Xinghe spent half a month and finally remembered them roughly. Although there were occasional mistakes, the Great Elder was still quite satisfied. In the words of the Great Elder, Chu Xinghe is a piece of unpolished jade, and he will carve it with his heart. One day, Chu Xinghe came to the Medicine King Palace early in the morning and greeted his brothers. Shen Chun came up from the side. Brother Xinghe, the day of the opening of the spiritual tomb will be in a few days. All of you inner disciples will enter the spiritual tomb to choose spiritual weapons for yourself. Have you decided what spiritual weapons you want? Spiritual tomb. Spiritual weapons. Chu Xinghe was confused. Now, apart from Yujianko, Yuminkeo, and Yuhunkeo, what else do I know about spiritual weapons? After reaching a certain time, the disciples of Haotian sect will enter the spiritual tomb, and there are countless spiritual weapons in the spiritual tomb. Every disciple can find his own spiritual weapon in it. As long as he is recognized by the spiritual weapon, he can become the new owner of the spiritual weapon. However, the more powerful the spiritual weapon is, the more difficult it is to recognize its master, so it is important to choose a spiritual weapon that suits you. After all, the spiritual weapon will become your lifelong treasure and a companion for your whole life. Chu Xinghe is a warrior. Although he has been studying in the Medicine King Palace for some time, his spiritual power growth rate has not fallen behind at all. Are you kidding? What is Lingyi Palace? The holy land of elixirs. Disciples from other places only get a few elixirs every month. Even if they practice hard every day, their progress is just like that. Chu Xinghe, a few elixirs. Haha. It doesn't exist. Chu Xinghe basically ate pills like candy beans every day. Whenever he finished eating the pills, his senior brothers would immediately give him new pills without him asking. In addition to the 10 spirit gathering pills that the Great Elder had rewarded him with, Chu Xinghe, who had not practiced at all, was not inferior to his fellow disciples who practiced hard, and even surpassed them. But Chu Xinghe really had no experience in selecting spirit soldiers. It seems that Junior Brother Xinghe doesn't know much about it, but Junior Brother Xinghe, rest assured, as long as you think of the type you like, I will find a way to help you find the specific location. Thank you, Senior Brother Shen Chun. No, it's the senior brothers who want to thank you. Besides, you have the Vermillion bird spirit fire, and it is not impossible for you to be in charge of the Spirit Crane Palace in the future. At that time, won't we still have to rely on you? Senior brother, I dare not say that. I have never thought about that. I have little experience in the sect, so how can I expect that? I just hope to practice well in the Spirit Crane Palace and assist the senior brothers in the future. Comfortable. Shen Chun felt comfortable when he heard Chu Xinghe's words. Even if you know that you may not be as good as him in the future, he is so humble and in the right position, and he still respects you so much. How can it not make people feel comfortable? So this junior brother, I have secured it for myself. Don't worry, junior brother, leave the spiritual weapons to the senior brothers, and we will find the most suitable one for you. Xinghe thanks the senior brothers for their kindness. Chu Xinghe was grateful. Okay, don't waste time, the elder is still waiting for the junior brother. Yes. Senior brother, take care. After seeing Shen Chun off, Chu Xinghe came to the Medicine King Palace again. The elder did not sit in the original position today, but stood next to the Vermillion bird furnace. Disciple Chu Xinghe, meet the elder. Xinghe, after studying with me for so many days, do you feel that identifying medicines is boring? Disciple dare not. But the elder asked the disciple and dare not hide it. It is indeed a bit boring. As soon as Chu Xinghe said this, the elder smiled immediately. This is where he likes Chu Xinghe. He is not only humble, but also very honest. Since Chu Xinghe entered Lingyi Palace, the great elder has been watching his every move. He is extremely respectful to his senior brothers and never shows any arrogance because he has the Vermillion bird spirit fire. In just 1 month, the entire Lingyi Palace, whether disciples or elders, like this child very much. This makes the great elder very satisfied with Chu Xinghe, and even when facing him, Chu Xinghe answers truthfully, even if the answer makes him unhappy and will punish him, but Chu Xinghe never avoids it and says what he wants. The elder was also angry and even thought about punishing Chu Xinghe, but in the end, he thought that a disciple who was willing to tell the truth was much better than a flatterer who would only flatter. The elder really wanted to treat Chu Xinghe as his own disciple, not only because of the Suzaku's spiritual fire, but also because of Chu Xinghe's character. To train Chu Xinghe to be the future ruler of the Lingyi Palace, the elder was most worried that others would not accept it, but Chu Xinghe's performance in the past month conquered everyone. He even conquered the elder. Looking at the elder's extremely gentle eyes, Chu Xinghe didn't know what the elder was thinking, otherwise he would definitely say, "Am I honest? I was really asking for death. I just want to be punished. Elder, please. Today we won't learn boring things. I will teach you the art of controlling fire, and you will also try to communicate with the Suzaku furnace." Chu Xinghe was stunned, and the clouds and mist were cleared to see the blue sky. Did he finally make it? Yes. Chu Xinghe was so excited that he almost peed. The art of controlling fire first. Chu Xinghe didn't listen to a word of the elder's explanation until the elder said, "The Vermillion bird furnace is a divine object. Remember not to mess around. The Vermillion bird spirit fire is overbearing. Don't hurt the Vermillion bird furnace." Disciple, remember. Chu Xinghe remembered it. Chu Xinghe remembered all the ways to hurt the Vermillion bird furnace. Today is a good day, everything you want can come true. Divine object, right? Vermillion bird furnace, right? Today is yours. Get rid of the Vermillion bird furnace, and the elder can't save me. Soon, according to the elder's guidance, Chu Xinghe began to communicate with the earth fire, and soon the Vermillion bird spirit fire was seduced out, but Chu Xinghe didn't mess around at all, but kept listening to the elder's words and manipulating the Vermillion bird spirit fire step by step to get close to the Vermillion bird furnace. It's not that Chu Xinghe didn't want to be fierce, but mainly because the elder was here. Performing a mind loss in front of him? I am not afraid of the elder finding out, but the problem is that the elder's means are so terrifying that he suppressed me with one move, and it would be difficult for me to attack again, so Chu Xinghe did not dare to do anything out of line on the surface. When the Suzaku's spirit fire touched the Suzaku furnace, the originally dusty Suzaku furnace suddenly shook. There is a reaction. The elder was extremely excited. The shaking Suzaku furnace kept changing, and soon the Suzaku phantom suspended above the Suzaku furnace began to rotate around the Suzaku furnace. It is so. It is so. The elder was so excited that tears flowed. It is so true that only the Suzaku spirit fire can make the Suzaku furnace revitalize. 400 years. Haotian sect has been waiting for 400 years. The Suzaku divine furnace is back. That the elder was so excited that he looked like a mess, and the rotation of the Suzaku divine furnace also attracted the attention of the elders of Lingyi Palace. For a while, countless elders came from all directions. When they saw the scene of the Suzaku divine furnace being reignited, they were also extremely excited. God bless Haotian. A group of elders shouted. Their eyes fell on Chu Xinghe at the same time. At this moment, everyone's eyes were relieved. With the Vermillion bird spirit fire and the Vermillion bird divine furnace, the medicine refining skills of the Haotian sect will definitely reach the peak again. The Vermillion bird spirit fire faded, and the Vermillion bird divine furnace returned to normal. A group of elders came up to surround the elder and Chu Xinghe and continued to shout the slogan of God bless Haotian. Today is the great joy of my Haotian sect and my Lingyi Palace in the past 400 years. Let's drink a cup today. Drink, drink. Several elders spoke, and even the always serious elder smiled today and said, pass my order, Lingyi Palace will not ban alcohol today. Ah! A group of elders jumped up. When the news came out, the disciples of Lingyi Palace shouted even more. Lingyi Palace is the only place in the entire Haotian sect that prohibits alcohol. There is no way the elder will not like it. Even if the disciples have a happy event, they can only drink tea instead of wine, but today is a happy event for 400 years, so we should drink wine. The kitchen of Lingyi Palace was full of flying woks, and the chefs were frying pots and stoves with sparks. Various delicious dishes were served one by one, and the banquet started at the Medicine King Palace. The elder first raised his glass to toast the ancestors and martyrs of Haotian sect, then he toasted the medicine Saint Lu Changfeng. Finally, he raised his glass and drank with everyone. After 3 rounds of wine, the whole Medicine King Palace was full of laughter and joy. People kept coming to Chu Xinghe to drink. After all, today's happy event was because of their junior brother Xinghe. But Chu Xinghe couldn't hold his liquor, and he drank early and his face was red and his mouth was wet. Seeing that Chu Xinghe couldn't drink anymore, Feng Fei hurried to help Chu Xinghe block the wine, and many senior brothers were also amused by Chu Xinghe's drunken appearance, and no longer asked Chu Xinghe to drink. It was not until late at night that the banquet finally ended. The great elder and a group of elders left first, and the other disciples also left one after another. Chu Xinghe looked drunk, but that was just an appearance. After seeing off Feng Fei, who was already drunk and unable to stand, Chu Xinghe asked many senior brothers to leave first, saying that he would help clean up the place. This move naturally caused countless senior brothers to cry and howl, and they all shouted that the junior brother was kind and righteous. Chu Xinghe didn't know where this kindness was. When everyone left and Chu Xinghe was the only one left in the Medicine King Palace, Chu Xinghe's eyes fell on the Suzaku divine furnace. Then, next, we should do something kind and righteous, hee. Little Suzaku, let your brother love you well. Chapter 6, Vermillion Bird's Spiritual Communication. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Medicine King Palace, Chu Xinghe looked at the Suzaku divine furnace with burning eyes. At this moment, the Suzaku divine furnace was more attractive to Chu Xinghe than a beautiful woman. As for the previous drunkenness, it had long since disappeared. He had a very good control over his drinking capacity. Walking to the Suzaku divine furnace, Chu Xinghe reached out and touched it, with a wretched smile on his face. Little Suzaku, we can finally play without restraint now. Sitting cross-legged, the ground fire drilled out from the ground under the guidance of Chu Xinghe. The Suzaku's spiritual fire instantly filled the entire Suzaku divine furnace. The Suzaku phantom on the furnace also kept circling, as if there was really a Suzaku dancing with the flames, but Chu Xinghe didn't have time to watch the Suzaku dancing at this moment. It was not so easy to find a chance to make the Suzaku divine furnace explode. Today was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so full fire. The Vermillion bird's spiritual fire highlighted the word fierce. Even a treasure like the Vermillion bird divine furnace would turn red in a short while if it was burned in front of the Vermillion bird's spiritual fire. However, a divine object is a divine object after all. It is not so easy to make this thing explode, so Chu Xinghe chose to go all in. The spiritual power poured into the earth fire with all his might. Under the blessing of the spiritual power, the Vermillion bird's spiritual fire showed him why it was called the most domineering flame. Even the Vermillion bird divine furnace began to shake constantly under the Vermillion bird's spiritual fire. It's almost there, the explosion is coming. Humph. No one can do anything this time. If you get rid of the Vermillion bird divine furnace, even the great elder can't save me. Maybe the secluded sect master will have to come out and punish himself. It's a bit difficult to be expelled from the sect, but you can't escape the status of an elite disciple and be locked up for 3 to 5 years. This Wuzong is going to be the master. No one can do anything. Under Chu Xinghe's control, the Suzaku spiritual fire turned into a fire tornado. Under the terrifying fire, the Suzaku furnace finally began to be unable to bear it. The shaking was so loud that the entire Medicine King Palace shook. Crack. A cracking sound came, and cracks began to appear on the Suzaku furnace. Seeing this scene, Chu Xinghe was so excited that he almost jumped up. The small Suzaku furnace finally fell under his own Suzaku spiritual fire. Soon after the first crack appeared, the entire Suzaku furnace began to crack crazily. Seeing this scene, Chu Xinghe turned around and ran without saying a word. Just kidding, the explosion of an ordinary alchemy furnace can burn down 1 or 2 houses. How powerful would the explosion of a divine furnace like the Suzaku furnace be? Could it destroy the entire Medicine King Palace? If that were the case, it would be great. Running all the way to the edge of the Medicine King Palace, Chu Xinghe looked back and saw a red gold flame spreading from the Medicine King Palace, followed by a loud bang. Boom! A terrifying explosion came from the Medicine King Palace, and the sound of the explosion resounded throughout the entire Lingyi Palace almost instantly. The shock wave brought by the explosion threw Chu Xinghe more than 10 meters away and fell to the ground covered in dust. But at this moment, Chu Xinghe was really in pain and happiness. Originally, I wanted to destroy the Vermillion bird furnace, but I never expected that the little Vermillion bird was so powerful. Now, the entire Medicine King Palace has been blown up. Who can save me now? The terrifying sound not only shook Chu Xinghe away, but also woke up countless disciples and elders of the Lingyi Palace from their drunken state. The elder washed and lay down with the help of his disciples. He hated drinking and liked this drunken state today. His head was dizzy, but he still thought about the future of the Lingyi Palace. He seemed to see the Lingyi Palace reach the peak again under his leadership, and even surpass the scene of the year, but a loud noise directly pulled the elder out of his dream. The elder jumped off the bed, and the drunkenness disappeared instantly under the circulation of spiritual power. When he ran out of the room, he saw many disciples and other elders gathered outside the door. What's going on? The elder was shocked, but he looked into the distance with everyone's eyes, and he knew what was going on. That was the direction of the Medicine King Palace, and at this moment, there was a fire rising to the sky over the Medicine King Palace. Something happened. The elder didn't bother to say a word to anyone, and rushed directly to the Medicine King Palace. At this moment, countless people woke up from their drunkenness and rushed to the Medicine King Palace, but when everyone came to the outside of the Medicine King Palace, everything in front of them made everyone stunned. The raging flames almost rolled up the entire Medicine King Palace. The flames turned the night red. This. The elder was already stunned at this time. The Medicine King Palace was the most important place in the Lingyi Palace, but it turned out to be like this. Where is Tianyu Haotian? The elder couldn't care less about this problem at this moment. Putting out the fire was the most important thing now. Countless people had begun to use their spiritual power to put out the fire, but the fire in the Medicine King Palace was obviously not an ordinary fire. Not to mention ordinary disciples, even many elders couldn't put out the fire completely. This is the Vermillion bird spirit fire. Someone finally realized the problem. This is not an ordinary fire at all, so it is difficult to put out. Vermillion bird spirit fire. Seeing this, the elder's mind buzzed. Vermillion bird spirit fire. Chu Xinghe was the only one in the entire Lingyi palace who could use the vermilion bird spirit fire. The elder vaguely remembered that Chu Xinghe seemed to be the one who stayed behind to clean up the mess. How come this mess cleaned up the Medicine King Palace? The great elder's mind was about to shut down. What on earth did Chu Xinghe do? Blow up the entire Yawang Palace? Is there something wrong with the Suzaku Divine Furnace? The great elder was anxious and rushed forward to put out the fire together without saying a word. At this moment, at the edge of Yawang Palace, Chu Xinghe had been waiting in the corner for a long time. The reason why he didn't rush out immediately was because he was waiting for the arrival of the great elder. From a distance, Chu Xinghe knew that he had really succeeded this time when he saw the collapsed look on the great elder's face. At this moment, all he had to do was rush out and tell the great elder that he accidentally not only blew up the Suzaku Divine Furnace, but also burned down the Medicine King Palace. If the great elder didn't give him a big mouth on the spot, he would be sorry for his status as the great elder. Then when the fire is out, won't all kinds of punishments come? Chu Xinghe was ecstatic that Huang Tian had paid off his hard work and he finally came out on top. After getting up, Chu Xinghe was about to rush out of the Yawang Palace to receive the punishment. However, as Chu Xinghe stood up and was about to rush out, the Yawang Palace suddenly exploded again. The terrifying flames instantly formed a huge fire wave, and all the people who were originally fighting the fire outside where he was pushed backwards by the fire wave. Chu Xinghe controlled the vermilion bird spirit fire so he didn't have to worry about being burned to death, but just when Chu Xinghe was about to break out of the flames of the Medicine King Palace, a clear cry suddenly appeared. This is the cry of the Suzaku. Following the cry of the Suzaku, the Yawang Palace, which had been burned and was about to collapse, instantly fell into pieces. The collapsed Yawang Palace was like a sharp knife, inflicting critical damage to the great elder again. Seeing this scene, Chu Xinghe was so excited that he almost peed. He was cheering in his heart. Chu Xinghe, who was about to go out, had just arrived at the door of Yawang Palace. Behind him, in the center of the flames of Yawang Palace, a soaring Suzaku rose into the sky. The huge Suzaku drove everyone outside the Yawang Palace back with the sky full of fire. After circling the Yawang Palace for a while, the Suzaku seemed to have found its target, and then swooped down from the sky, and this direction. It was exactly where Chu Xinghe was. Don't come over here. Seeing the Suzaku suddenly rushing towards him, Chu Xinghe was also confused. Has the Suzaku Divine Furnace become a spirit? Knowing that he blew it up, does it want to die with him? Not caring to think so much, Chu Xinghe quickly activated the Suzaku's spirit fire on his body to block the Suzaku rushing towards him, but this time the Suzaku's spirit fire could not stop the Suzaku rushing towards him. The Suzaku passed directly through the Suzaku's spiritual fire and hit Chu Xinghe's body with a bang. The picture of being burned to ashes by the flames did not appear. The moment Suzaku hit him, Chu Xinghe felt like he was being pulled directly into a world full of flames. The flames in the sky were heading towards his head crazily. Gathering, at the same time countless things began to pour into his mind crazily. Junior brother Xinghe. At this moment, Feng Fei followed the direction where Suzaku fell and saw Chu Xinghe standing in the sea of fire, but before he could shout another word, the Suzaku had already enveloped Chu Xinghe. Not only Feng Fei, but everyone saw this scene at this time. Suzaku, channeling. This is Suzaku, channeling. The voice of an elder who still smelled of alcohol trembled, but his words caused the entire Yawang Palace to boil. There has always been a legend in the Haotian sect that the medicine Saint Lu Changfeng once left a legacy for future generations of disciples of the Haotian sect, but where is this inheritance? The Haotian sect has been searching for 400 years but still can't find it. Some people speculate that the inheritance may be hidden in the Suzaku Divine Furnace, but the Suzaku Divine Furnace has not been able to be activated for 400 years, so naturally it is impossible to confirm the authenticity of this matter. But today, when the Suzaku soars into the sky, everyone knows that this legend is true. The Suzaku soaring into the sky is the medicine saint inheritance left by medicine Saint Lu Changfeng. At this time, the Suzaku channel was opening the medicine saint inheritance, and the person who received this inheritance was none other than Chu Xinghe in the fire. The great elder was stunned for half a minute, but after the stupor passed, all the anger on his face disappeared. When the Yaowang palace was burned down, he was just like everyone else. Could it be that Chu Xinghe accidentally did it? But now the great elder knows that it is not Chu Xinghe. It was the Suzaku divine furnace itself that was looking for a successor, so it must have been the Suzaku divine furnace that broke out the Suzaku's spiritual fire. The Suzaku's spiritual fire burned down the entire Yaowang palace, and then Suzaku rushed out of the Suzaku divine furnace to pass on the Suzaku's psychic spirit to Chu Xinghe. Suzaku enveloped the entire Medicine King palace, and the great elder frantically shouted for everyone to retreat. No one is allowed to put out fires at this time. If putting out the fire hinders the inheritance of Suzaku's channeling, then each of them will be the eternal sinner of Haotian sect. What a medicine palace! Burn it, burn it! With the strength of the Haotian sect, rebuilding the Yaowang palace is no joke, but this Suzaku channeled the spirit. The Haotian sect has waited for 400 years, and today the Suzaku finally arrived. $window, _tabula equals window, _tabula dot push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula below article feed, placement, below article feed, target _type, mix. Chapter 7 Why is it so difficult to be punished? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The flames burned the entire Yaowang palace to ashes. Countless people who saw the flames soaring into the sky rushed to Lingyi Palace from various hills, but all those who arrived were stunned, because at this moment, the great elder in Lingyi Palace issued a death order, and no one was allowed to put out the fire. When they heard the news, the people who came to help were stunned. What's going on in Lingyi Palace? Your Yaowang Palace is gone. Why don't you put out the fire? Are all of you in Lingyi Palace drunk? Then everyone found that everyone in Lingyi Palace smelled strongly of alcohol. Good guy, have you really drunk too much? But soon, as the elders from various hills who came to help came to Yaowang Palace, they really understood what happened. A huge Suzaku enveloped the entire Yaowang Palace, and in the endless sea of fire, a person wrapped in red gold flames floated out of thin air. The Suzaku kept flying up and down around this person. Suzaku is psychic. The people who arrived understood why the great elder refused to put out the fire. Is this a fire? This is obviously the flame brought by Suzaku's channeling. The inheritance of the medicine saint from the Haotian sect 400 years ago actually appeared today. The fire that burned the medicine king's palace to ashes was the Suzaku channel that came from the medicine saint's inheritance. Good guy, now everyone finally understands why when they saw the great elder, instead of seeing any anger or sadness on the great elder's face, he was filled with ecstasy. At first, everyone thought that the great elder was laughing out of anger, but now everyone knows, he is extremely angry, and he is really happy. He burned down a medicine king's palace, but got the medicine saint's inheritance. Let alone the medicine king's palace, even if he burned down the entire Lingyi palace, the great elder would probably be willing to do so. The raging fire was still burning, and the inheritance of Suzaku was finally completed in the flames. In the end, the Suzaku turned into a stream of light and penetrated into the center of Chu Xinghe's eyebrows. The flames behind Chu Xinghe surged, and the red gold flame turned into a phantom of a red bird. The Suzaku spread its wings and soared as if it had given Chu Xinghe a pair of wings of flame, and Chu Xinghe also woke up from the inheritance, and his mind was filled with all kinds of knowledge about refining medicine. It was almost like a pot of porridge, but this inheritance has brought Chu Xinghe unimaginable benefits. The texture of the evening primrose is like this. The texture of the moon grass is like this. The shimmer of the moon soul grass is like this. All the things that Chu Xinghe risked his life to remember before are now in his mind as long as Chu Xinghe thinks about them. A search will reveal everything. Chu Xinghe also realized what happened at this moment, but the problem is that this is not what he wants. I really don't want to be an alchemist. I want to be the martial emperor. If it doesn't work, the martial sect can just make do with it first. When the great elder was sure that the inheritance was 100% complete, he ignored the burning of the Suzaku flame and rushed into the fire himself. He hugged the confused Chu Xinghe, and then said with an extremely shameful expression. The princess hugged Chu Xinghe out of the fire. The great elder's hair and beard were all blackened by the flames of the Suzaku, but now he was smiling with his small white teeth. God bless Haotian, that at this moment, both the people from Lingyi Palace and those who came from outside started shouting when they saw Chu Xinghe brought out by the great elder from the flames. God bless Haotian again. Chu Xinghe almost vomited blood when he heard these 4 words. God only bless Haotian, why should he bless me when he wants to? I just want to be punished, why is it so difficult? Someone found clothes and put them on Chu Xinghe. The flames had already burned everything on him to ashes. Chu Xinghe was naked just now when he was carried out. As soon as he put on his clothes, Chu Xinghe said with a mournful face, the great elder, disciple, accidentally, exploded the Suzaku divine furnace, ignited the entire Medicine King Palace, disciple is guilty. Chu Xinghe couldn't care less at the moment. No matter what, let's try our best to get a punishment, right? But when Chu Xinghe said these words, the elder laughed loudly. Good boy. Good boy. Today is the Suzaku channel, so how can I blame you? Besides, the Suzaku divine furnace is a divine weapon, so how can it be so easily damaged, you see? The great elder pointed his finger in the direction of Medicine King Palace. Chu Xinghe looked around and almost fainted on the spot. I saw the terrifying flames burning in the Suzaku divine furnace suspended in the mid-air of Yawang Palace. The phantom of the Suzaku was flying around the fiery red Suzaku divine furnace. It was a happy scene. Where are the cracks? Where does it look like it's been blown up? The Suzaku divine furnace now looks much more gorgeous than the original Suzaku divine furnace. This is the real Suzaku divine furnace. After 400 years, the Suzaku furnace finally reappeared in its true form today. The great elder laughed wildly again. Chu Xinghe also laughed, but the laughter was much uglier than crying. What I just blew up was not the body of the Suzaku divine furnace. Not only did he not blow up the Suzaku divine furnace, but he also accidentally obtained the inheritance of the medicine saint. What a fuss! The flame finally extinguished, and the Suzaku divine furnace fell again, but it had turned fiery red and no longer looked like before, but this was the true appearance of the Suzaku divine furnace. Good boy, did you get the medicine saint inheritance just now? The elder asked Chu Xinghe impatiently. Yes. Chu Xinghe replied feebly. Although he wanted to say nothing, he was ignored in front of so many people. Even the inheritance was clearly seen. He had no chance to lie even if he wanted to. Ah. Good. 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 3 good words again. Chu Xinghe felt a headache when he heard the elder say 3 good words in a row. 400 years. 400 years, our Haotian sect finally got back the inheritance of the medicine saint. God bless Haotian. God bless Haotian. At this time, whether it was the people from Lingyi Palace or the people from other mountains, they shouted in unison, and the sound shook the 4 fields. Pass on my order, from today on, Chu Xinghe will be promoted to a core disciple. That the elder seemed to think that today was not exciting enough, and stabbed Chu Xinghe again. Chu Xinghe was almost out of breath, holding his chest. He hadn't lost his status as an elite disciple yet, so what did it mean to become a core disciple directly? After congratulating the great elder and Chu Xinghe, the people who came from all sides left one after another. The great elder seemed to be worried and pulled Chu Xinghe to ask about various knowledge of refining medicine. In the past, Chu Xinghe could listen to these questions as alien language, but now he can answer them casually as long as the great elder asked them. After all, this is the inheritance of the medicine saint. After finally confirming that Chu Xinghe had obtained the inheritance of the medicine saint, the great elder laughed wildly again and told Chu Xinghe to have a good rest and not to have any burden because of the destruction of the Medicine King Palace. Then the great elder found Feng Fei, explained various things and the task of rebuilding the Medicine King Palace, and the great elder left with laughter surrounded by a group of elders. After the great elder left, Feng Fei and others also gathered towards Chu Xinghe. Congratulations, senior brother Xinghe. A group of disciples of Lingyi Palace congratulated him at this time, but the title changed from Junior Brother Xinghe to Senior Brother Xinghe. There is no way. The great elder has announced on the spot that Chu Xinghe has been promoted to a core disciple, and elite disciples must call core disciples senior brothers when they see them. Senior brothers, you must not do that. How dare Xinghe let you call him that? Chu Xinghe looked flattered. When hearing Chu Xinghe's words, a group of senior brothers from Lingyi Palace burst into tears on the spot. Look. This is their junior brother Xinghe. When others were promoted to core disciples, who didn't look down on others? But look at junior brother Xinghe again. He was promoted to a core disciple, and he may have created the record of the shortest time from inner disciple to core disciple in the history of Haotian sect. But in this case, junior brother Xinghe did not have any arrogance at all, but respected the previous senior brothers as much as before. What a broad mind. Senior brother Xinghe is now a core disciple. According to the sect rules, we must call him senior brother. Shen Chun stood up to explain for Chu Xinghe. Ah, there are such sect rules. Chu Xinghe looked terrified as he looked around the room and spoke again. Fellow brothers, Xinghe can get to where he is today because of your help. Without you, there would be no Xinghe today. Although the sect rules stipulate this, Xinghe joined the sect the latest. How dare you call him that? So, if there are outsiders present in the future, you can call him according to the sect rules. If there are only us, please call him Xinghe as before. After Chu Xinghe said this, everyone was silent. Feng Fei, who was also a core disciple, looked at Chu Xinghe with admiration, and the other elite disciples around were also moved. Listen. Junior brother Xinghe said that we are all his own people. Is this a matter of address? This is not forgetting one's roots. Junior brother Xinghe is so outstanding, but he is not arrogant at all. Where can I find such a peerless junior brother? Just follow what junior brother Xinghe said. Feng Fei finally spoke. Hearing Feng Fei's words, a group of elite disciples nodded one after another, but they looked at Chu Xinghe with incomparable intimacy. Okay. Junior brother Xinghe is the most tired today, and he should rest. You should go back early, because you still have to rebuild the Medicine King Palace tomorrow. I'm sorry for all the senior brothers. Because of Xinghe, all the senior brothers have to work hard. Xinghe feels really bad. Chu Xinghe said and bowed 90 degrees to all the elite disciples again. Seeing Chu Xinghe like this, even those who felt a little uncomfortable because of rebuilding the Medicine King Palace felt completely comfortable at this time. After all, Chu Xinghe has become a core disciple, and a core disciple is so humble to so many elite disciples. This kind of thing has never happened in the past. Such a peerless good junior brother, working for him to help rebuild the Medicine King Palace, just asked what's wrong. Feng Fei took Chu Xinghe and left the Medicine King Palace and returned to his residence amid the laughter of a group of fellow disciples. Seeing Chu Xinghe with a bitter face, Feng Fei thought that Chu Xinghe was too tired today, so he told Chu Xinghe to rest early and then he would rest later. After Feng Fei left, Chu Xinghe burst into tears. Why is it so difficult to be punished? Chapter 8, Caring for Fellow Villagers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early in the morning, disciples from Lingyi Palace sent exclusive robes for core disciples to Chu Xinghe. The black core disciple's robe is inlaid with gold threads as if to tell the status of the core disciple. Originally, according to the rules, the core disciple's clothes could be delivered within 3 days, but what junior brother Xinghe said last night really moved everyone. So the senior brother who was in charge of the core disciple's clothes didn't sleep all night after he returned. He drove Chu Xinghe's core disciples' clothes out overnight and delivered them over early in the morning. Moreover, the clothes that were delivered were even inlaid with 2 taels more gold than the average core disciples, and were more exquisite. Chu Xinghe put on the clothes that represented the core disciples, but there was not much smile on his face. It's so difficult. It's already so difficult to take away the identity of an elite disciple, isn't it even harder now to take away the identity of a core disciple? The only thing that makes Chu Xinghe happy is that the reward of the compass of misfortune seems to be higher for core disciples whose identity is removed. In the past, taking away the identity of an elite disciple would reward peak martial arts cultivation, but now if one takes away the identity of a core disciple, the reward would actually be a higher level, 5th grade peak martial arts cultivation. From the looks of it, it doesn't seem to be completely unacceptable. After washing up, Chu Xinghe had breakfast with many senior brothers, and then came to Yawang Palace. The fire last night razed the entire Yawang Palace to the ground. Except for the Suzaku stove, which was still standing there firmly, everything else that could be burned was completely burned. At this time, the disciples of Lingyi Palace have begun to clean up the mess and prepare to rebuild Yawang Palace. Chu Xinghe felt really sorry, so he also joined the working team. Master Xinghe, junior brother, I don't need help here. Junior brother Xinghe, you were tired last night. You should take a rest first. Although he was rejected in various ways, Chu Xinghe still helped out with various tasks. Chu Xinghe took the initiative to do whatever work was hard or tiring, which made a group of senior brothers extremely moved. Look at, the other core disciples are all like uncles. Look at our junior brother Xinghe, we are not just talking about it, we are completely practicing it. After working hard until noon, the other senior brothers began to rest, but Chu Xinghe did not rest. Today is the day when all palaces come to receive elixir resources. Although the Medicine King Palace was burned down and many elixirs were burned, the foundation of Lingyi Palace is there, and the supply to each palace will not be cut off. Chu Xinghe helped the disciple who was responsible for distributing the pills and was busy again, which made the disciple look moved. Although Chu Xinghe was tired, working like this could be considered as a way to vent his guilt and resentment. Hello fellow brothers, I am Lu Bo from the outer sect. I am here to receive the elixir resources from the outer sect. A guy who looked like a fat-headed fish said with a low eyebrow, there is no way, this is what outer disciples are like. The disciple in charge of distributing the medicine casually took out the medicine resources and handed them to Lu Bo, the fat-headed fish, but Chu Xinghe remembered this guy. Isn't this fat-headed fish the same guy who beat Chu Xinghe severely at the outer gate last time? Thinking of Chu Xinghe, Chu Xinghe spoke, are you Lu Bo from the outer sect? To tell you senior brother, yes. I am Chu Xinghe. Ah. Chu, senior brother Chu, hello. Lu Bo obviously knew Chu Xinghe. Hello, Chu Xinghe and I are from the same hometown. As soon as Chu Xinghe said these words, Lu Bo broke into a cold sweat. The last time he beat Chu Xinghe, it seemed that it was because Chu Xinghe spread rumors about Chu Xinghe behind his back, and he was rewarded with pills for this. Lu Bo didn't understand what Chu Xinghe meant when he came to find him today. Is it because he struck too hard? Chu Xinghe cares about his fellow countrymen and wants to stand up for Chu Xinghe. Lu Bo, after all, Chu Xinghe and I are from the same hometown. What happened before is in the past, but I still hope that you can take care of Chu Xinghe in the outer door. Don't forget the feelings of the same hometown. No matter what Chu Xinghe has done, but he will always be my countryman. When Chu Xinghe said these words, both Lu Bo and the Lingyi Palace disciples beside him were stunned. Listen. This is the realm. Everyone knew that Chu Xinghe had spread rumors about Chu Xinghe. Some people even speculated that Chu Xinghe was behind the beating of Chu Xinghe, but now that he heard Chu Xinghe's words, Lu Bo was really convinced. Is there really such a broad-minded person in this world? How could anyone suspect that such a person is behind him? Is this justified? Is there any royal law? Chu Xinghe casually took out a bottle of elixir from the side, stuffed it into Lu Bo's hand and said again, Junior brother Lu Bo, this is my little thought. Please take care of Chu Xinghe in the outer sect for my sake. Ah. Lu Bo looked at the pill in his hand with a flattered expression. Okay. After confirming that what Chu Xinghe said was definitely not sarcastic, Lu Bo said with a serious face, Senior brother Chu, don't worry, from today on, no one will dare to bully Chu Xinghe with me in the outer sect. I feel relieved with your words. Chu Xinghe smiled gratefully. Lu Bo also saluted and was about to leave, but at this moment Feng Fei came over from not far away. It was obvious that he had seen everything just now. At the same time, he was really convinced by Chu Xinghe. He had arranged for someone to deal with Chu Xinghe before. When Chu Xinghe stopped him, he thought Chu Xinghe was just showing off, but what he said to Lu Bo today made Feng Fei understand. I still underestimate junior brother Xinghe. Junior brother's mind is really broad. He is truly a righteous person. Junior brother Xinghe, you can't do this. Feng Fei shook his head and sighed. Ah. Is it because of the elixir? Don't worry, senior brother Feng, I will replenish the elixir. Junior brother Xinghe, I'm not talking about elixirs. When did our Lingyi palace lack elixirs? I'm talking about what you did just now. Senior brother knows that you are a good person, but Chu Xinghe has a very bad character and is malicious behind his back. He deserves a little punishment for slandering you, but now you let someone take care of him. Based on my understanding of him, not only will he not accept your kindness, but he will get worse. Feng Fei's words made everyone around him nod, and at the same time they secretly thought that junior brother Xinghe is still too naive. Besides, Haotian sect, whether it is the inner sect or the outer sect, is a place where strength is respected. If Chu Xinghe is really talented, he can stand up again even if he is kicked into the outer sect, but junior brother, if you let Lu Bo take care of him like this, not only will he not remember your kindness, it will not even be of any benefit to his cultivation. Today he was beaten because he was not strong enough and you gave Lu Bo the elixir to take care of him. What if he gets beaten again tomorrow? Feng Fei said and shook his head. I understand what senior brother Feng means, but he is my fellow countryman after all. This is the only thing I can do for him. If, as senior brother Feng said, someone really hits him again, then what can I do? Maybe he just took out the pill again and asked that person not to hit him. Feng Fei shook his head when Chu Xinghe looked innocent, but Feng Fei didn't say anything more in the end. After all, isn't junior brother Xinghe's innocent character what everyone likes about him? Feng Fei shook his head and left. On the other side, Fat-Headed Fish, who had not gone far, happened to hear the conversation between Chu Xinghe and Feng Fei. The first words made Fat-Headed Fish almost worried that the pill he had got would be taken back, but the following words made Fat-Headed Fish feel nervous. Eyes lit up, Chu Xinghe doesn't care at all whether Chu Xinghe is innocent or not. What he cares about is, if someone beats Chu Xinghe again, will Chu Xinghe give him the elixir? Damn, what about this good thing? The fat-headed fish's crotch was a little wet with excitement, and his squinting eyes exuded a dazzling light. Pill. I am coming. The fat-headed fish left Lingyi Palace excitedly, but what he didn't know was that Chu Xinghe looked at the direction in which the fat-headed fish left and the excited appearance of the fat-headed fish from a distance, and showed a satisfied smile. Chu Xinghe, you little brat. He was not beaten to death last time. But this is not bad, keep it and torture it slowly. I just happen to be in a bad mood, let the fat-headed fish teach you how to be a good person. Outside the outer door, Chu Xinghe, who was tied up like a mummy, was lying on the bed. My fate is up to me. As the most talented young man in the village, Chu Xinghe did not fall down because of 1 or 2 blows. Chu Xinghe swore that when the opportunity came, he would definitely take the head of Chu Xinghe with a 3-foot sword. No. And that fat-headed fish. That guy must have been found by Chu Xinghe, it must be him. I want to chop off his head and make it into minced pepper fish head, let him know that whoever offends me, Chu Xinghe, will pay a price he cannot bear. Just when Chu Xinghe was thinking about becoming the pinnacle martial emperor and pointing his sword at the world, the door was kicked open with a bang. A fat-headed fish came in from outside with a group of people. Oh, don't do this. Senior brother Chu Xinghe promised to take good care of his fellow villagers. I have to stop you. You can't do anything to Chu Xinghe. Oh. I can't stop you from doing this. There are so many people. Poor acting. Extremely clumsy. Before Chu Xinghe had time to express his opinion on fat-headed fish's acting skills with his mouth, a fist the size of Shabo was already in front of him. The dream of the peak martial emperor was shattered by fists. A group of people greeted Chu Xinghe risking their lives. No one knew how long the beating lasted, but what is certain is that the fate of Chu Xinghe's martial emperor and me is up to us. The implementation of the plan will be postponed again for more than a year. In the afternoon, Chu Xinghe continued to work around with everyone in the Medicine King Palace. The great elder took many elders to visit. When they saw Chu Xinghe working with everyone, both the great elder and other elders nodded. This child has a very good temperament. Yes, great elder, this kid Xinghe is pure and honest. Even though he has become a core disciple now, he is still not arrogant at all. I heard from the disciples below that he still calls everyone senior brother and only follows the sect rules when outsiders are around. Call it. What a good boy, Suzaku spiritual fire, medicine saint heritage, any one of them is enough to make a person become the proud son of heaven, but this child is not proud of it at all. God bless Haotian. The great elder also revealed a knowing smile while stroking his burned beard. Whether a person is a martial artist or refining medicine, talent is important, but temperament is even more important. How many people in this world have extraordinary talents, but after learning, they deceive their masters and destroy their ancestors? But if you look at Chu Xinghe, he is humble to his brothers and respectful to his elders. Such a child deserves to have the Suzaku spiritual fire and the medicine saint inheritance, but even so, he still remains true to his original intention. The great elder felt that bringing Chu Xinghe to Lingyi Palace was the most correct thing he had done in his life. Chapter 9 Shen Chun's Tips. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The first elder and other elders did not praise Chu Xinghe because they knew that Chu Xinghe, a good boy, did not need praise. His actions had already told everyone what kind of person he was. The great elder led a group of elders and left with smiles on their faces. Although the Yaowang Palace was destroyed, the Haotian sect was so powerful. Originally, because there were more and more disciples in the Yaowang Palace, it was a bit crowded. Now that it is burned by a fire, a more magnificent Yaowang Palace can be built, so this fire Chu Xinghe is burned well. In the evening, Chu Xinghe, who was all dirty, had finished the day's work with the senior brothers from Lingyi Palace. He was a little tired. However, he heard rumors that Chu Xinghe was taken care of again, which made Chu Xinghe tired after a day's work. Sweep away, if it weren't for the inappropriateness, I would have gone to the outer gate to see what kind of mess Chu Xinghe was being treated in. Just as he was about to go back to rest with Feng Fei, Shen Chun came over. Junior brother Xinghe. Hello, senior brother Chen Chun. Haha. Junior brother Xinghe, you are very tired from your busy schedule this day. When you get back, take off your core disciple uniform and give it to the disciples in the sect. There will be specialized disciples to help you clean it. This is a core disciple. That's the kind of treatment you get. How can that be done, senior brother Chen Chun? Stop talking. Chu Xinghe said solemnly, I am the latest to get started. How can I ask the senior brothers to wash my clothes? I feel a little guilty for not being able to help you wash your clothes. So I washed the clothes myself. I don't know how the other core disciples are treated, but please stop talking and treat me as an ordinary disciple. The senior brothers have taken great care of me. I am grateful to all of you. Shen Chun burst into tears. It has to be junior brother Xinghe. Okay. Just as junior brother Xinghe said, oh by the way, junior brother Xinghe, in a few days it will be the time for the tomb to be opened. I have arranged for someone to inquire about the information about the tomb. I don't know what junior brother Xinghe would like. Spirit soldiers. Ah. Chu Xinghe was stunned. What kind of spiritual soldier did he like? You know, generally entering the spiritual tomb depends on luck. Haotian sect believes that the encounter between the spiritual soldier and the disciple is fate. The destined spiritual soldier will follow the disciple for life until the day of death before returning to the spiritual tomb, so fate is very important. This fate, how should I put it, is very mysterious. Some people are extremely talented, but just because they entered the spiritual tomb, they accidentally chose the worst spiritual soldier. As a result, fate came and their future was gone, and some people who get a powerful spiritual weapon may change their destiny against the will of heaven, but very few people know that the so-called fate is not absolute. Those who enter the spiritual tomb are all new disciples and do not understand the situation of the spiritual tomb. Even if some disciples who are valued by the elders may get some gossip before entering the spiritual tomb, the elders dare not say too much, after all, the sect rules are there, but now. Chun means that you can choose your own fate. Senior brother Chun, will doing this violate the sect rules? Chu Xinghe said very solemnly. No. I quietly asked the great elder about this matter, and the great elder also nodded. So I will not violate the sect rules and will not be punished. Junior brother, don't worry, that I'm relieved. After hearing what Chun said, Chu Xinghe laughed angrily. I asked if he would violate the sect rules. Is that what he meant? If it doesn't violate the rules, what's the point? What future is there without being punished? That's it, then thank you, senior brother Chun. I like cheap, swords. Sword. Junior brother, don't worry, there are 10 divine swords in our Haotian sect spiritual tomb. Although 5 of them are now in the hands of the elders and sect leaders, there are still 5 that have no owners, and although the location is a mystery, there must be some news from the great elder. Don't worry, junior brother, I will quietly go to the great elder to inquire about it, and I think I will find something. In that case, I would like to thank you, senior brother Chun. Why are our fellow apprentices so polite? Let's go. After Chun left, Chu Xinghe also returned to his room. Feng Fei had finished washing and was sitting drinking tea. Chu Xinghe mentioned to Feng Fei that Chun came to see him today. The purpose was very simple. As the saying goes, one less thing is worse than one more thing. He wanted to check to see if there was anything that could violate the rules. This matter is not a secret. The elders of each palace will open some back doors for their favorite disciples. Our Lingyi palace is naturally understandable, so it cannot be considered a violation. Chu Xinghe looked disappointed. If Feng Fei said it wasn't against the rules, then it really wasn't against the rules. Junior brother Xinghe, with your talent, if you can get the divine sword, you will naturally be able to go higher and further in the future, so junior brother, just go ahead and do it. Thank you, senior brother Feng. Chu Xinghe smiled helplessly. It seemed that there was no chance of violating the rules. Seeing Chu Xinghe's wry smile, Feng Fei thought that Chu Xinghe was worried that he could not conquer the divine sword. After thinking about it, Feng Fei said, Junior brother, in fact, the 5 divine swords do not necessarily depend on fate, but also require some small means, so junior brother, don't worry, the great elder will definitely find a way to let junior brother get the divine sword. Ah! Chu Xinghe was dumbfounded. There was a secret operation behind the so-called fate of love, but Feng Fei didn't say any more, because he had already said everything that needed to be said. Chu Xinghe was thinking, how about exposing this secret operation? If this were revealed, the new disciples would be in trouble. It is estimated that it will be a huge blow to the entire Haotian sect, but after thinking about it, Chu Xinghe felt that it was not possible. If he revealed this matter, would he be expelled from the school? Difficult, very difficult. Will he be punished then? Yes, but it won't be very big, because the great elder will suppress this matter at all costs. With the great elder's methods, the possibility of letting it go will be very high. At most, Chun, the matchmaker, will be pulled out and used as a backstop. Just let the pot guy deal with it and declare it to be a rumor. He could do things that were beneficial to himself at the expense of others, but it was something Chu Xinghe felt he couldn't do at the expense of others. What's more, it is very important for me to get the divine sword. The 10 divine swords of Haotian sect are famous all over the world, just like the heaven-raising sword in the hands of the sect leader, and the soul-destroying sword of the great elder. They are all treasures. If you can get such a divine sword as a spiritual weapon, that's a promising future. There are still 5 of the top 10 divine swords left in the tombs. With the great elder behind the scenes, there is no problem in getting one. Thinking of how many times he had tricked the great elder before, even though he had failed, he still felt in his heart. Ichinono still feels a little guilty, right? At night, Chu Xinghe had a dream. He dreamed that Chu Qingbao came to seek revenge on him like a rice dumpling. He kept saying that 30 years to the east of the river and 30 years to the west of the river should not bully young people into poverty. What else are you saying that my destiny is up to me? What are you talking about that you want to chop off your own dog's head with a sword? Damn, isn't this little brat alive? Why are you still dreaming? So can having too much resentment achieve the effect of dreaming? Chu Xinghe was so angry that he ran to the cafeteria early in the morning. Brother, bring me 2 rice dumplings. The ones with the tightest wraps, the ones stuffed with meat. After eating 2 rice dumplings stuffed with meat fillings, Chu Xinghe felt a lot more comfortable. Little Beezy was quite resentful, wasn't he? What have I never seen of you, brother Chu? Don't talk about Zongzi, come here in person and see if your brother Chu can chew it for you. Chew it and swallow you alive. The remnants of Yawang Palace have been cleared away. Haotian sect has its own construction team. A group of disciples who practice civil engineering skills showed Chu Xinghe how to build a house here. In the past, I always heard people say that high-rise buildings are rising from the ground. That is all bragging. Here is where the buildings are really rising. The stones are really pulled up from the ground and made into stone pillars. Good guy, all kinds of palaces are really rising from the ground with the Suzaku furnace as the center. In just a few days, the Yawang Palace has taken shape with the help of a group of civil engineering disciples. The area of the Yawang Palace is larger than before. More than 10 times more. It's the kind of place where you can get lost even if you go in. Of course, there will definitely be various things that need to be added to the Medicine King Palace in the future, but in the face of the Haotian sect's strong financial resources, these are nothing at all. Chu Xinghe watched it rise from the ground for a few days. Although he was not very interested in becoming a disciple of the civil and wood skills, Chu Xinghe really loved the Haotian sect's skills. However, Chu Xinghe is still at the peak of the first-grade martial artist realm. If he wants to formally learn the techniques, he must obtain the spirit weapon and then seriously enter the second-grade martial artist realm before he can start learning the techniques that suit him. During this period, the Great Elder came to see Chu Xinghe. He even asked for Chu Xinghe's opinion on the construction of Yawang Palace. Chu Xinghe really didn't know anything about it and could only say that the Great Elder would take care of it. However, these days are the most comfortable days for Chu Xinghe. Every day, he only needs to watch the hard-working performances of civil engineering disciples. He really doesn't have to do anything, even if he wants to. I don't have this ability either, so during the past few days, Chu Xinghe has been thinking about his next plan: burn the tomb. That's unrealistic. If the spiritual soldiers automatically protect the spiritual tomb and hit me with 1,000 swords, it's not worth it. And just when Chu Xinghe was at a loss what to do, Chun arrived. Chun mysteriously handed a piece of paper to Chu Xinghe. Chu Xinghe glanced at it. Good guy. The positions of the 5 divine swords were marked on 4. How to get 3 of them was even written down. Everything is clear. No wonder the Great Elder told me inexplicably when he came before that he should take good care of it. This is how you take care of your feelings. Thank you, senior brother Chun. Oh. Junior brother, you're too polite. I'm just an errand boy. Junior brother, please don't let down the Great Elder. Senior brother Shen, don't worry. Junior brother, the Great Elder asked me to tell you that it is best to choose one of these 3 swords and leave the others alone. And after entering the spiritual tomb, be sure not to communicate too much with others. The last time the spiritual tomb was opened, there was the disciples also got some information, but this guy relied on his own information to guide others randomly. In the end, a group of disciples only got the worst spiritual weapons. The palaces were furious, and even the elders couldn't save the guy and were directly killed. I was expelled from the sect, so junior brother, you. Senior brother, don't worry. I will definitely not give random guidance to anyone. Chu Xinghe burst into tears. Senior brother Chun. It has to be you. You are now my most beloved senior brother. I have been thinking hard for so many days with no progress. Senior brother, if you are an expert, you will know if there is anything right as soon as you take action. If you give people random guidance, you will be expelled from the sect, right? Senior brother, don't worry, in terms of giving random guidance, the person who was expelled from the sect is just a noob compared to me. Chapter 10 Why are there so many differences in how people behave? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Today is a good day, everything I want can come true. Chu Xinghe swept away the previous haze and jumped all the way back to his residence. It seems that junior brother has got what he wanted, and he is in such a good mood. Feng Fei looked at Chu Xinghe with a smile. Senior brother is right. Chu Xinghe nodded and smiled. Don't let down the elder's painstaking efforts. Feng Fei obviously misunderstood. He understood that Chu Xinghe should have got the method to obtain the magic sword, so he was happy, but what really made Chu Xinghe happy was not only this, but also the news brought by Chun. But when the magic sword was mentioned, Chu Xinghe also hurriedly opened it to take a look. Among the 5 swords, the elder knew the location of 4, namely Luoxing, Xinghe, Guhong, and Zhanling, and the 5th sword is called Yuan. The elder only had an approximate location of this sword, and did not have the exact location, so he did not write it down. Among the remaining 4 swords, except for the soul-slashing sword, which has no corresponding accurate method, the specific methods of obtaining them are written for Luoxing, Xinghe, and Guhong, and even the suitable route for each sword is clearly written. It can be seen that the elder really did everything to cover up the shady dealings for Chu Xinghe. Feng Fei was stunned for a moment after reading it. The elder is really attentive. This is probably the first time such a detailed record has appeared. There is nothing wrong with what Feng Fei said. As the number 1 sect in the world, Haotian sect is not only powerful, but also fair. Generally, when the tomb of the spirit is opened, the elders of each family will try to take care of their children, but usually they will tell you that someone is more suitable for you, maybe in a certain place, maybe in a certain method. That's the most. Those who can get this kind of information are basically treated as their own children by the elders. But what the elder wrote to Chu Xinghe, my goodness, this is not a hint at all. It's just that the elder went to the tomb to take out the magic sword and put it in front of Chu Xinghe for Chu Xinghe to choose. Others would feed him secretly, but the elder opened Chu Xinghe's mouth, stuffed the rice in, and then poked it into his stomach with a fire chopstick, fearing that Chu Xinghe would have indigestion and would have to take 2 stomach-strengthening and digestion-promoting tablets at the end. So Feng Fei was a little shocked after reading it, but Feng Fei didn't think the elder was too much. After all, in Feng Fei's opinion, Chu Xinghe must be on the road to being in charge of Lingyi Palace in the future, so the elder would pave the way for Chu Xinghe at all costs. Brother, what you said is right. The elder may be afraid that I can't understand it. Chu Xinghe could see from Feng Fei's face how dark the elder's shady plot was. Remember these and burn them. Feng Fei reminded on the side. Okay. After Chu Xinghe carefully memorized every word, he burned the paper in front of Feng Fei. Junior brother, remember to keep a low profile. Just know these things yourself, but don't dare to give random instructions to others. Feng Fei also reminded him. Don't worry, senior brother, that perhaps the rice dumplings in the morning worked, or perhaps it was because of the good mood. This night was full of sweet dreams. In the morning, Chu Xinghe continued to watch the rising ground, while thinking about his next plan. In the afternoon, Chu Xinghe received news that the Ling tomb would be opened early tomorrow morning. Because the sect master was in seclusion, the elder would personally preside over the Ling tomb conference. As soon as the news came out, the disciples of all parties had their own thoughts. Although some people got the gossip in advance, it would be a lie to say that they were not nervous. After all, even if the gossip was accurate, you could not guarantee whether others had received the same news as you. After all, it was not easy for the elders of each mountain to sit down and hold a meeting to study where your disciples would go and where my disciples would go for such shady things, so it is not impossible for duplicate news to appear. Once it happens, it depends on who gets there first. Of course, people like Chu Xinghe are unique in the entire Haotian sect. The location of the magic sword of the Haotian sect is usually not leaked to disciples. Unless there is an extremely suitable disciple, it cannot be obtained at all. In addition to these people, there are more ordinary inner disciples of the Haotian sect. Outer disciples are not qualified to enter the Ling tomb. Only by entering the inner gate from the outer gate can they follow the next batch of disciples to enter. This time, the Haotian sect recruited 3,000 disciples from all over the world. This Ling tomb conference can be said to determine the future fate of many people. if you get a good spiritual weapon, the future will be smoother, otherwise it will be extremely bumpy. So after the news was released, basically all palaces could see disciples gathering in groups of 3 or 5 to discuss the Ling Tomb conference, but it was useless. After all, the situation in the Ling Tomb can only be learned from some senior brothers. There is no use, which spiritual weapon is good and which one is suitable for you, only the devil knows. As countless people were nervous and a few were excited, the Lingzhong conference arrived as scheduled. 3,000 inner disciples gathered on the martial arts field outside the Haotian Palace in the center of Haotian sect. Although Chu Xinghe stood at the edge, his presence was still the focus of everyone. The guy who became a core disciple in the shortest time in history. The black disciple uniform on him is so handsome. The inlaid gold thread is even more handsome. It's a pity. It would be better if I wore it. Core disciple. I don't know when I can become a core disciple. Stop dreaming. To become an elite disciple, you must at least reach the level of a great martial artist, and you must have achievements. As for the core disciples, it is useless even if you endure for a lifetime. Each of the sect's core disciples is personally selected by the elders, and they will all be extraordinary figures in the sect in the future. There were waves of discussions, both good and bad, but Chu Xinghe didn't care at all. Silence. With a shout, the elder walked up to the platform, his eyes swept over the many disciples below the stage, and the elder spoke. First, he praised the sect, then he told these disciples that entering the Haotian sect was a blessing from your ancestors, so you should cherish the opportunity. Finally, he briefly introduced the rules of the spiritual tomb. The rules are very simple. After entering, you can go wherever you want, but everyone has only half a day in there. If you can't choose a spiritual weapon that suits you within the specified time, then the sect will force you to have a spiritual weapon of the lowest level. This is also a warning to those who are too ambitious to look in the mirror and see what they are. Don't be obsessed with magic weapons, and end up with nothing. Although the words of the elder are not pleasant to hear, this is the truth. After the elder finished speaking, the platform behind him also fell down, and with the fall of the platform, a road leading to the back of Haotian Palace also appeared in front of everyone. This is the road to the tomb. Under the guidance of the sect disciples, everyone began to enter the tomb one by one. Chu Xinghe noticed that the elder nodded to him intentionally or unintentionally before he entered the tomb, which was to encourage himself. Chu Xinghe followed the large group through the underground passage of the tomb, and finally entered the tomb through a foggy door full of white mist. What came into view was a world like an underground cave, with countless huge stones standing in front of everyone in uneven layers. On these huge stones, you can see all kinds of spiritual weapons inserted. But at this time they all look dusty, and it is impossible to tell which one is better or worse. While Chu Xinghe was observing the terrain, some people had already started to set off. Obviously, these people should be the ones who got the gossip, and they should be heading for the spiritual weapons in their minds. But there are more people standing there with a confused look on their faces. After all, there are countless paths and stones here, not to mention the spiritual weapons on them. How to choose? It all depends on luck. Chu Xinghe was thinking about how to carry out his plan, but heard a crisp voice behind him. Excuse me, are you brother Chu Xinghe? A delicate girl walked towards Chu Xinghe. Chu Xinghe looked at the girl's chest. Damn. It's so big. No. It's the symbol of Chiulin Palace. That's right, Chu Xinghe just wanted to see where this girl was from, and didn't care about the size. Hello, junior sister. I'm Chu Xinghe. Senior brother Xinghe, my name is Wanlin. You are a core disciple. You should know more than us. I wonder if senior brother Xinghe can help us. The others behind her also looked at Chu Xinghe, but the girl was also prepared to be rejected. After all, the spiritual tomb is related to their own interests. It is not necessarily for ordinary people to spend their precious time to help others, but just when the girl was ready to be rejected, Chu Xinghe spoke. Junior sister Wanlin, you don't have to be polite. Although I am a core disciple, I know the same things as you, but I have no choice but to help my fellow disciples. If you don't mind, you can follow me. I will try my best to guide you on some roads. Ah. Thank you, senior brother Xinghe. Wanlin and the disciples behind her were so excited that they almost jumped up. Wanlin looked at Chu Xinghe with a flickering look. It was previously rumored that Chu Xinghe was a righteous man who risked his life to protect his fellow countrymen. He was praised by countless fellow disciples when he entered Lingyi Palace. Wanlin thought it was just a rumor, but he never expected that Chu Xinghe, a core disciple, would be so easy to talk to. This made Wanlin feel that rumors were sometimes credible. And other junior brothers and sisters, if you don't know how to go, you can also follow me. I will try my best to guide you. Chu Xinghe raised his arm and shouted, and immediately received cheers from countless confused disciples. Thank you, senior brother Xinghe. I am really convinced this time. No wonder senior brother Xinghe can become a core disciple. That's right. You don't know, I met a core disciple a few days ago, and I called him senior brother, but he didn't even pay attention to me. We are both core disciples, why is there such a big difference in our behavior? Countless people shouted for senior brother Xinghe's benevolence and righteousness, and at the same time followed Chu Xinghe's footsteps, but what Chu Xinghe didn't know was that at this time in Haotian Palace, a group of elders were silently watching everything in the tomb through the Haotian mirror. The elder stood in the front, and when he saw that Chu Xinghe was willing to lead the way for his fellow disciples, he was both relieved and helpless. He was relieved that Chu Xinghe was a very good child. Even if they were not disciples of Lingyi Palace, as long as they were fellow disciples of Haotian sect, he was willing to stand up and help, but he was helpless that Chu Xinghe would delay him a lot of time by doing this, and it was possible that he would not be able to get the magic sword in the end. Except for the great elder, the other elders nodded when they saw this scene. They were all knowledgeable people. Everyone knew the shady stuff, but they couldn't say it out. Look at their disciples, they rushed to the place where they got the news, fearing that they would be left behind and couldn't get the good stuff. But looking at Chu Xinghe, everyone knew that he must have received guidance from the great elder, and even better guidance than they gave. But what about Chu Xinghe? Faced with the help of his fellow disciples, he didn't hesitate at all. Just this point has convinced most of the elders at the scene. As the saying goes, when judging a disciple, you can't just look at his talent, but also his character.